Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, Potter Than Hellions. Welcome back to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is Steve, your host. I'm joined this week by
BC
and
BB
Keyboards
Dylan.
and our buddy from the great state of Michigan, Mr. Brad Rusthoven. How are you, buddy?
Hey guys, Potter Than Hell crew, how are you?
We are good. It's a gorgeous day here in Pennsylvania. Apparently not so much in Michigan. Just
so
be
much.
glad you're not in like Wyoming or
Yeah, right.
was it Casper, Wyoming? They're getting like 30 inches of snow today or something like
Yes.
that. I'm like, holy shit. Like, who would want to live there? No offense to anybody who lives in Wyoming, but holy shit, that's got to suck. Brad, how's it going, buddy? How's things over at Slamfest?
Real good, real good. Every time I'm on, people are getting tired of me saying the tagline, but bringing the premier rock concert pre-gaming experience from the parking lot to the podcasting airwaves. And actually, when this drops, I'm nearing 150 episodes, so pretty excited about that. Most recent ones did a Rockin' Pod recap with the great Bill Elam. Talked about the Rare Hair and Keel Fest 2 shows that we saw, so things are good.
I just actually listened to the Slamfest. I'm like a couple days behind listening to my podcast, and it was the Rockin' Pod one with the Keel Fest and the Rare Hair was really good. Bill Elam, great guy. It was cool hearing him on there, and real good guy. And sounds like you had an awesome time. And like you said, hopefully next year we can, some of us can get there and check it out. But great episode. And I had a hankering to listen to Keel after I listened to that yesterday, but with work today and then just getting home and getting ready for this tonight, I didn't get a chance to. So Keel's on my list to throw in there. But
Nice.
but I do have Keel related on what you're listening to, so that's something good though.
It's a band called Leak.
Band called Leak.
Keel backwards.
Yep. And I want to say congratulations to our brothers at the Grown Up Rock Podcast, Sonny and Steven. They just released their 300th episode as well. And of course, it was an insane episode with Sonny with his numbers that he threw out there for 300. Like, what song is it in Iron Maiden's catalog that is 300 minutes into their music?
Right.
It was like the Prophecy at like Seventh Son, and then there was like a Van Halen one. And that was like, I think it ended up being On Balance, maybe.
Oh, right.
I think, I mean, you got to figure you got Iron Maiden, all the long songs, and then you got Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2 probably is not even as long as Peace of Mind or something, so it took them a lot longer to get to 300 minutes. But congratulations, guys. It was a really cool episode. And Sonny, once again, you're insane. Dylan, what's up?
Oh, not too much. Just surviving work as usual.
Come on, you got to come up with something new. Next week though. Next week you will.
Okay. Yeah, I will next.
Or actually,
week.
the week after. It'll be the
Yes.
week after.
Yes.
Week after you will. All right. We'll let you go till then. How about you, BB?
No, nice and quiet down 3 houses down the road. Enjoying this weather. Outside in the yard with the dogs and just kind of enjoying the sunshine for now. Getting used to it. So before you know it, we'll be.
I say don't get too used to
I was
it.
going to say, don't get too.
I'll be putting the patio furniture out in the freaking snow. But
60% chance of
I was like
Thursday.
sitting on the deck drinking a beer before I came up here. I'm like, man, it's fucking hot out here.
Nothing wrong with that. I'd
No,
rather sweat
it was-
than freeze.
Yeah, it's fantastic out there today. But quiet in BB land this week.
Good. How about you, BC? What's up?
Running around crazy. Got a lot of projects started.
Nothing done.
Oh, God, no. But at least I've started.
That's good. One project usually starts about 3 more. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So good to hear everybody's doing good, thriving. And last week we did the album. I did the album duo with Aaron Martell. We did Iron Maiden self-titled. We did Killers, and we also threw in as a little bonus there to put a cap on the Paul Di'Anno era. We also did Made in Japan. And I had a great time with Aaron. Guys, if you get a chance, check out the Ridiculous Rock Record Review podcast, affectionately known to us as R4. Aaron and the gang up there, they do a great job. They do a different album every week, and it's always a blast. And so check them out. I hope you guys enjoy the album duo. Always love talking some Maiden. What are we listening to, you guys? BC, how are you? What are you listening to?
Well, I picked up a reissue of Lynch Mob. Funny, we're talking about that in a group text day. Rebel. It had a different album cover and everything. I'm like, give it a shot. Because I can't find mine. So I've been really... That's very good.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever listened to that.
With the kid on the cover?
The kid, yeah, he's like holding a rock or something.
Yeah.
I might have. I don't know. I might have it.
Ani Logan, Brian Tishy. It's good.
I don't know. Because I remember when I saw the reissue, and I'm like, reissue? I'm like, I don't remember the regular.
I remember seeing it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Good, though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
it has some bonus stuff with Wild Mick Brown on drums doing some sounds. But overall, I love that album.
And BC said we were talking about it in our Monsters of Rock Cruise text group today that Loudness is out now, whatever they got going. They might as well not even fucking book anything. But Lynch Mob is going to be on there now.
This is multiple. The M3,
M3 they're not going to now.
They get canceled all the time. And now this.
But Lynch Mob will be on the Monsters of Rock Cruise now, so it's going to be... Tony mentioned he knows the bass. Jaron, I think the guy's name is, plays bass. And there's a young guy singing now, some dude.
I don't know.
And then I think... Jimmy DeAnd, I think, is his drummer now, right? That's who we're talking about, right? Formerly of Bullet Boys. So, Brad, what do you got going?
So, other than the albums that we're going to be talking about later on this episode, here's a preview of some upcoming episodes of the Slamfest podcast. So, some Dio era Sabbath, some Megadeth, and then some of your hometown boys there, the band Live. And then even the Cars. So a little eclectic mixing there. But that's what I've been doing.
It's a good mix. Dylan, what do you got?
I was in a 90s mood today, so thanks to BB's opening band for the Metallica two-night stand, I listened to a little bit of Ugly Kid Joe, America's Least Wanted, and I was listening to Nine Inch Nails' The Downward Spiral, so some happier stuff and some... not happier stuff.
Okay. Some fun stuff and some slit your wrist shit.
Two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. I contain multitudes.
I'll go next on this one. No, let BB go. I've been checking out the other night. I was like, I always like to say, like, you have, your wife or girlfriend, like, they have, like, a 1,000 dresses to wear and 1,000 pair of shoes and always complain that they have nothing to fucking listen to. I have like over 1,000 vinyl records here, and I'm like, I don't know I have nothing to fucking listen to. So I just kind of, I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I threw on the Thunder Mother album, Black and Gold, fucking awesome. I picked up a copy of Wasp Dying for the World. I threw that on. I forgot how fucking great that is. Daryl Roberts absolutely tears it up on that album. And I alluded to it before. Always a go-to album for me in these last couple years has been the Cold Sweat Breakout album. Absolutely love that album, and Brad mentioned on the on Slamfest that was it the Rare Hair that did it or Keel's band?
No, it was during it was the opening band for the Keel Fest. And shoot, I'm trying to I missed that Bill saw it, and I think Mark Ferrari came out and they did a Cold Sweat song with the singer of whatever band that was. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, so I had thrown that on before I had listened to the podcast, but that's always a good go-to album for me. Just like talk about the wrong band at the wrong fucking time. God damn.
We're talking about a second album coming.
Hey, we're talking about that 3 years ago on the cruise. No, we still haven't heard shit.
Hefty.
I know. Keep your fingers crossed. How are you, BB? What do you got going?
I'm really digging the new Last in Line album, Jericho. Mm-hmm. Love what they're doing with this new album. A little bit different than the last one. A little bit more heavier. Vivian Campbell's getting a little bit more shreddage in there. Freeman's vocals are really, really good in this. I'm really, really digging it. It just called Jericho from Last in Line.
I am so fucked up on this album. I literally, I just was not paying attention. I thought it was Chris Jericho album called Last in Line. And I'm like,
Chris Jericho does Ozzy or Dio covers.
I'm like, he got rid of Fosse. I'm like, what the fuck?
Last in Line, they've moved on from tributing Dio. Now they're tributing Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and then I'm like,
they're covering the album Enemy.
Yes.
Like, why is he going by himself? And then I'm like, this doesn't even sound like him. It's like, what the fuck? So now I have to listen to it. And just check it out. BC's got a theory.
301 episodes and he finally fell off the fucking wagon.
BC got a theory about me lately.
He's burnt toast now.
Burnt toast.
So, because I saw that and I'm like,
we have BB, we have BC, now we have BT, burnt toast.
BT, burnt toast.
So I have to check that out.
Could this be a nickname?
In the right frame of mind to check that out. So I'll check it out.
Oh.
I hope it's better than because the last one kind of sucked.
No, it's better. I thought it's a little bit more. I think they let Vivian do a little bit more playing on it. I think it's a little bit more.
Way better.
Good. That last
guitars
one
are a lot better.
Like a lot of too much mid tempo shit. The whole album's fucking like that.
This is a little bit more.
All right, so we'll see how Chris Jericho. How those guys do. So that's what we got going this week. Some Thunder Mother, some Wasp, some Cold Sweat for myself, Lynch Mob for BC, a Rebel album, Last in Line. Band album Jericho for BB. Some Ugly Kid Joe and Opposite End of the Spectrum 9 Inch Nails for Dylan. And then Brad's got some research for his upcoming album, upcoming shows coming up. He's got some Dio Sabbath, some Megadeth, some Live, and the Cars. So that's what we got going. So as you guys see from the title, we're going to do our these were called, the first episode was called Make It a Combo, and that was episode 237. For that episode, it was just the four of us here, but I thought this would be a great episode that I thought Brad would really like to sink his teeth into this one. So what we did was, the rules were take 2 consecutive albums from a band, make 1 album, but you can't have a more number of tracks than on your made-up album than there is on either one of the albums. So if there's like 9 songs on an album, 9 songs on another, your full album's got to be 9. But if there's 10 on one and 9 on another, you can make it a 10-song album. So we spun the wheel, the magic wheel, and I ended up going first. Of course, it's not a draft, so that's why I ended up being first. And so I'm trying to think which one I should go with first. Which one do you think I should go with first, BB? Alphabetically, which one?
I would go the Iron Maiden one first.
Okay.
Because it's definitely...
okay.
Alphabetical.
All right. So the albums I picked, the last time we did this, I did Iron Maiden, I did The X Factor, and Virtual 11. So for this episode, I ended up doing, I went back to Maiden, but I wanted to do what I consider the hard rock version of Iron Maiden. When Adrian Smith left the band, I think that was the beginning of the huge change for Maiden with Adrian Smith leaving the band. So it's going to be the albums No Prayer for the Dying from 1990 and 1992's Fear of the Dark. No Prayer for the Dying is produced solely by Martin Birch, and Fear of the Dark by Martin Birch and Steve Harris. These were, I won't say what my other albums are till we do the second part of the show, but this was tough doing this one. This one was not as difficult as the one that I'm going to do later. In my process for these were first go through each album and see which songs I don't like, which songs I just want to X off right off the bat, and then pick which ones I liked, and then put them in some kind of order that it could, would be an album, good sequence for the album. I remember picking up No Prayer for the Dying. I picked that up right when it came out, and I remember I knew that Adrian Smith was out of the band at the time, and the album cover, I thought the album cover was very cool. It's got Eddie coming up out of the grave, and then the original one, you could see him grabbing the guy, but the newer one, they have just focused on Eddie coming up out of the grave. And I remember when I picked that up very vividly, and I liked it. I thought it was a more of a hard rock album than, because it's coming off of Seventh Son. So I mean, these albums are day and night, sound wise, theme wise. Just like, I think you get a good mix of the shorter Maiden, because there's really no long epic songs on either one of these albums. I think Fear of the Dark is the longest song on both albums, and but you get more of a condensed version of Maiden. No Prayer for the Dying is only 44 minutes, and Fear of the Dark is an hour. So, but you do have 12 songs on Fear of the Dark, and which you don't usually get. You usually get 8 to 10, so you have at least 2 more songs on that album. But it was cool doing these ones, because it was good to revisit these ones. Like some of the songs, I'm like when we did the draft with Aaron, some of these songs were a lot of the songs left over were from these 2 albums when we did the Iron Maiden draft. So what I did was I wanted to make it into a cohesive album. So did anybody name their albums? I forgot to do that.
I named mine. Yeah.
Did you?
Because that's what we normally do.
I did one.
Okay, I'll have my names by the end of the show. I totally forgot to fucking do that.
Unprofessional.
I'm losing my shit this week. All right, so I open up my album with opening track from Fear of the Dark, Be Quick or Be Dead. I think it's just a great. You come in with that drum roll, that. I don't think that there's a better opening song on either one of these albums than this. I think it was placed perfectly on that album, just a rockin' song. And I'm absolutely leaving Holy Smoke in the number 2 spot. I think even after, I would have rathered Holy Smoke than Tail Gunner on No Prayer for the Dying, truthfully. More up tempo, but Holy Smoke, absolutely love it. I just listened to that today, that song fucking rips. Listen to the soloing in that. Both Yannick and Dave Murray. Just absolutely friggin' fantastic. Then I go into Run Silent, Run Deep. Iron Maiden doing their cool, World War II warfare kind of thing in the sea this time. Then I shoot to keep that theme along there. Afraid to Shoot Strangers, I think, is a very, very underrated Maiden song. I think that this is a song that if they pulled this out now, I think the fans would go nuts, because I think it's a really underrated song. Great. I guess you could call it a deep track, although it has a video out for it. I spoke about the video a bunch of times on the show, but the video that they show is a Blaze Bayley version live, but it's more of a montage of stuff from the Gulf War. Friggin', if you haven't checked it out, absolutely check out that video. It's friggin' fantastic. Then Chains of Misery I did from Fear of the Dark. I think it's just a great song, really underrated. And on these 2 albums, you get more of a raspy vocal performance from Bruce, more of a you know what I mean, more just raspy vocals rather than the clear operatic kind of stuff. I mean, you get some of that, but for the most part, until you get to a chorus, you get more of a raspy Bruce in these songs. I end up side 1 with Mother Russia. I think it's probably, with the exception of Fear of the Dark, the only epic type song you get on both of these 2 albums. And you get that now, and you do get that Russia feel, in that kind of elongated part, towards the end where the soloing is and stuff. You can picture the guys doing the high step walking into fucking Kremlin Square there, or whatever the hell it is. So side 2, I do stick to. I go back to No Prayer for the Dying. I do Tail Gunner, open up side 2 with Tail Gunner. I think it's okay for side 2. Side 1, definitely. I don't think so. Go right to No Prayer for the Dying from the title track from the album. Just another great song that I think is really underrated. Of course they played it live when they toured for that. Great. Then From Here to Eternity. That's a fun Maiden song. You get a lot of great Maiden songs, but you don't get a whole lot of fun Maiden songs. I think that this song is kind of tongue in cheek. If you watch the video, it kind of gives it a little. Kind of reminds you of the Turbo Lover video a little bit. Oh, you know what I mean?
Right, yep.
Very cool. They're playing on the island and it's burning and shit. Cool one. And I hate this song, but I like this song. So I had to throw it on there. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I have a love-hate with that one. Do you ever hear just the Bruce version? It's terrible. It's terrible. It is, isn't it? Is it from the Shocker movie?
No, it's from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. It's fucking terrible. I will take this 1,000,000 times over that. If they want me to give up secrets for the launch codes, play the Bruce version and Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter over and over again, I'll give them up after the first go round. Then second last song is our buddy Air Martel, the penultimate song of the album, Judas Be My Guide. I liked the chorus in that. The soloing is great in it. Another underrated deep track. And I end the album with The Assassin. No, I don't. Fuck that shit.
What you say, is the album dead now?
I want everybody to hit stop. No, you gotta end it with Fear of the Dark. You gotta that. So it's gonna be it'll be 6 songs per thing there. What do you think, BB?
I like it. I was kind of curious about this one, but I'm definitely more curious about the other one. That's why I kind of picked this one for you to go first. But Afraid to Shoot Strangers, Mother Russia, two highlights for me on side 1, and then definitely From Here to Eternity and Judas Be My Guide on side 2, and then ending with Fear of the Dark. I was wondering if you're going to throw that in there somewhere. And it closing the album was a surprise, but now that I think about it, it does fit pretty good there. But yeah, very very good. Like I said, those 4 songs are definitely standouts for me.
Done.
I was wondering if you were going to put Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter on there. Because I know you don't like that song as much. I liked that you had the opening and closing songs of each album kind of in opening and closing spots on each side. That was a very cool kind of nod to how the albums actually go. You have to end with Fear of the Dark, and you have to start with Be Quick or Be Dead. That's kind of the... Like, if you're doing those 2 albums, those are like the perfect opener closer, so you followed that pretty well. No Assassin.
I know you're disappointed, Dylan.
Assassin.
It was either that or The Apparition.
Yeah, got it. There's it probably wasn't hard to weed out some songs.
No. That was the easiest part of it.
Yeah. So, but good album. I would definitely listen to it. I think it's a good way to consume these 2 albums, hitting kind of the heavy hitters of those albums.
What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, so I had you on recently, Steve. We talked about Maiden, and we were talking about the classic songs on that Matter of Life and Death tour. And if you recall, I had Be Quick or Be Dead in my set. So great way to kick it off. Actually, of the 12 songs you chose, because I did this with everybody's album, I kind of chose, what would my 12 be? And there were only 3 that we were off on. And but I mean they're good. The ones you left off were the right ones to leave off. And bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. That song gets a lot of shit, and you brought up the Bruce version, which is not good, but this version I think is pretty good. I mean, is it cheesy? Yeah, but it's still, I think musically it's a fun song. And Afraid to Shoot Strangers, I think the last time they played that might have been on that Maiden England tour where they recreated the Seventh Son tour. And I remember them playing it, and I love that song. That's that's underrated Absolutely. For sure. So great 12 songs.
You see, I love it right out of the gate. First 4 tracks you picked are, and again, Afraid to Shoot Strangers. I like you said, if they do that now, people would go crazy. You got to go with the Tail Gunner. I'm very surprised you picked Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, because he always bitches about the song. Don't
know why. Good song.
I can understand coming from the Maiden aspect. It's kind of cheesy for them, I guess, but still a good song. And Fear of the Dark is a classic closer.
Yeah,
definitely a good album.
All right, there's me. Who do we got next? BC, you're next.
BC.
What's he gonna start with?
What album are you gonna start with?
Let's start with the greatest albums there are. Psych.
You pick different bands? I've been on BC for fucking 2 weeks over this shit.
Midlife Crisis. Oh, we're gonna have intervention on the cruise.
What are you doing first?
Freak of Nature.
Okay.
I'll save the best for last.
What are you doing? Why don't you say that so everybody could?
Freak of Nature.
Freak of Nature.
Freak of Nature. That's the band.
Mine's gonna be called Welcome to the Show, the album.
Nice.
But Freak of Nature is if nobody knows out there, Mike Tramp from when Great White Lion broke up or whatever, they didn't want to play guitar no more and imploded. So he formed this band. It's a 5-piece band with pretty much nobody's from his home country, from what I gather. But to me, I think I forgot all about this until he brought that up, and I'm going through everything going on. And I found out they have but it's really not a third album. It's just they have a third album. But
demos or?
No, but it has songs from the first, I don't know, It's some new ones, but there's a lot of repeats. So I don't call it album. But I'm going to open up off their second album, The Gathering of Freaks, with Enemy. This is like an upbeat rocker, good killer riff, big choruses. There's throughout the, and then right before the guitar solo, there's a little breakdown point, and then just goes into a killer solo, dual solo, and from the two guitar players, which makes you wonder if you go back to White Lion days, if White Lion was a 5-piece band, how would the dimension be that much different? Mm-hmm. Anyways, second track's going to be off their self-titled album, One Am I. Another one. It's an upbeat song, but I don't know how to explain it. It has like a different riff sounded to it. Again, this band is big on the choruses. And another great solo. I mean, both these albums, the solo is I think, very good on it. Track 3 is going back to the second album, Gathering the Freaks. Get It Yourself. It starts off, guitar and bassy into like a groovy riff. Again, more catchy choruses, not shocking. The solo is different. I can't pinpoint how to describe it. But when
I'll describe it.
Thank you. It's just different sound. Track 4 is going to be off the self-titled 92. There's many different riffs throughout this song, tempo changes, and then we get the solo. It's kind of laid back. It's totally like a different song, bitching about a lot of stuff that happened back in the end of the White Lion days. I figured that much. Track 5, again off the self-titled, is going to be Rescue Me. As that killer bass and drum start into another groovy riff, catchy choruses, and that. So that's the end of side 1. Opening side 2 with Turn the Other Way off their self-titled release. Another one with upbeat. It has that different drums to it. Just everything on these albums are different from White Lion. Everybody thinks Mike Trampo is going to be White Lion Part 2. I think it's very different from White Lion. Track 6 off of Gathering the Freaks, Open Space. Musically different, musically pleasing, I would say. Big choruses, another great solo. I'm drumming the ball on the guy's name. Track 8, another one off Gathering the Freaks, Stand Back. Another one with a different riff feel into the bass and drum mix, back and forth. I'm not good at describing what I'm hearing, but definitely another good track on this. Track 9's off the self-titled Possessed. It has a soft guitar start into a rockin' riff, and it has that strong bass. And I don't know, I always pick up, for some reason now, the bass lines in all these albums that we talk about, and there's just some killer bass in these albums. Let's see, the down part right before you're going into the solo, I think is a standout, and then there's comes back, and there's a second solo. Then I'm going to finish off the album, track 10 from Gathering the Freaks, with the upbeat finish with the crazy drums and rockin' start, which I always think an album should go out rockin'. And this is another song that has a killer bass line in it, and some, again, more classic soloing off this album. But this is just my favorites off these first two albums.
What's the name of it?
What's the name of the song?
Powerless.
Okay.
I don't do that. I skipped that.
You said it eventually.
So I went right by it. But this is a great band, and unfortunately it only lasted a few years. And now he does more mellow stuff. He said he's no longer can do the range of the White Lion songs, and at least he admits to it.
Well, he just did an acoustic thing, right? Didn't he? Or he put
has
out something.
5 albums out. He puts out stuff regularly.
No, but I mean, just recently.
Recently, he did a little tour. He'll be on the boat.
Yeah, I remember BC mentioned these guys maybe late last year. Maybe I think he's mentioned them or early in this year, and he said with Mike Tramp, but I totally forgot about it. And then when I made the playlist to listen to, I was here last week, and I just got home from the firehouse, and I threw my headphones on, and I started my glamorous day doing fucking laundry, and so this comes on, and I'm listening and I'm like, fuck, where do I know this guy from? So racking my brain because I could hear his voice singing something else, but I couldn't place what the fuck it was. And then it was like, oh shit, White Lion, Mike Tramp. Okay, I had never heard these albums until a couple weeks ago. A lot of good stuff on there. A lot of good stuff. Mike still sounded Mike Trampish back then. I'm not sure what he sounds like now. I think the last White Lion thing I heard was maybe early 2000s. He put out that one album that had the song Little Bighorn on there. That was fucking fantastic. But that's like the last I heard of him doing anything new. But these are from back even before that. But what I did was for all these albums was I wrote down the title of the track, and then I did stars next to them and a couple little commentaries. And actually, you picked all except for there were two that I thought were just okay, but the other ones had good stars. Enemy, I thought was really cool. The solo section is fucking great. That breakdown section is fantastic. What Am I? Oh, that's got another killer solo in it. Stand Out 92 was fantastic. Rescue Me was fantastic. And you were talking about the solo on Get It Yourself. That song has a fucking Pearl Jam feel to it.
Is it?
I hear and see Pearl Jam singing that song. Because it was like right around then when that shit was right kind of going. I totally got a Pearl Jam vibe. And for me, a good Pearl Jam vibe. Not there's other shit, but like stuff that I actually like.
First album Pearl Jam.
Yeah. Strike Back was another one that was friggin' killer. It was good. I enjoyed listening to this stuff. I think, and like I said, if I didn't like it, I just put no or okay or you know what I mean. So like you hit a lot of stars. You missed a couple stars that I had, but
I'll make it for
there's a song called Need that's on there. It's like kind of a mellower song, but fucking the solos are fucking killer in it. But
solo is great on both.
Cool picks. BC comes through once again. He's batting 1,000 so far for the unit. But I enjoyed listening to this stuff. I think it was cool. It's there's a couple songs I would throw on a playlist going forward.
BB.
Yeah, kind of almost what Steve said. You know, Enemy, What Am I, 92 were it seems like the first side of this album is better for me than the second side. But I wish you put Big Black Hole in there. That song was awesome. I thought that was my favorite out of. I think that's off the second one. I'm like, boy, I hope he puts that song on there.
I hated that one.
He's losing it again.
Oh, terrible. But yeah, old music turned into new music, like I've always been saying. But yeah, some of the songs were really, really good. You know, and it was nice to see how you kind of picked out some of the better ones, because there definitely were some couple clunkers there. But no, definitely a good listen and a good band I may check out later.
And one thing I meant to mention too, the one song that I thought was great, that I thought was a bold, that Raping the Cradle. Like, you usually don't hear songs with with raping in the fucking title, especially something like. But I mean, the song was really good. But I'm like, wow, how did they get that on there? I mean, they would never get on there now.
No.
I mean, that's probably one of the heaviest songs on that album. The slide guitar and it's fantastic. I was just surprised by that.
It was hard to pick one out. Dylan.
Yeah, I'm really glad that somebody finally decided to combine Freak of Nature's two albums together. I know we were all asking for it. No, I did like these two albums. I had, of course, I had never heard them before. Hearing that it's Mike Tramp, it makes a lot of sense now, because I too was like, this it sounds familiar, but I can't quite place it because I'm not as up on White Lion. I know their popular stuff, but Radar Love, their cover Radar Love and all that. Fantastic cover. But yeah, I thought that you picked a lot of the songs that stuck out to me. Enemy and Rescue Me, I think, were the two that like I enjoyed. But I definitely will probably give these albums another spin, because I liked what I heard. It didn't sink in my listens, but I think that it could definitely end up in the rotation if I listen to it enough. So you did the out of left field picks today. So thanks. One of us has to do it. Today it was you. So
it's either you or Dylan.
Yeah.
Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, so on the text chain, BC, if you recall, when you listed what you chose, Steve's first response was, "Who the fuck is Freak of Nature?" So, yeah, never heard it before. But you know what? I mean, pretty good stuff. I mean, they, tried to cater, to the mid 90s. That's when these albums were coming out. So some of the stuff, sounded like, stuff of the day or whatever. But of the 10 songs, kind of like with Steve's, again, I chose kind of what mine, would have been. And there were only 2 that didn't make my list. And Enemy and Stand Back, both, it did not sound like Mike Tramp at all. I mean, very aggressive vocal, but I liked it on both of those. And then 92. So it's interesting that because my first thought was, he says 92, I hate you. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, what's this really about? I brought the lyrics up. It double meaning possibly, but he talks about like grandmother passing away or something. But I was thinking what you were thinking. I'm like, 92 was when your career ended with
I think it was a combination of both.
Yeah, so kind of a double meaning, but of the 10 songs, it was good, and just for noting, Big Black Hole, all I had was one word: terrible. So, I mean, Steve, you brought up the Raping the Cradle. Wow, I mean, tough subject matter with that song, and I mean, but it wasn't a bad song, but I'm like, I don't think I could have chosen it. Just based on the subject matter, but overall, not bad at all. BC, great picks.
Cool. Brad's up next.
Oh, great! I'm up. I think I'm going to go in alphabetical order based on band name. So I chose for my first 2 albums from Black and Blue. So I think everyone, for the most part, is at least familiar with this band. I mean, if anyone's a Kiss fan, they obviously know that Tommy Thayer used to be in a band in the 80s, and this was it. But I kind of thought about the first 2 albums before. I've actually thought about it, like, they could have combined these songs and made a really good self-titled album. So, Steve, you were asking about naming the album. Well, this is just self-titled for me. So I didn't get creative with this one. But so diving right in, and I also looked at, it's kind of interesting. You look at some of the compilations and, trying to see, what songs are they choosing? Because, I mean, Black and Blue didn't have, they had 2 videos as far as, from these first 2 albums, as far as I know. But they didn't have a bunch of singles. But I was trying to kind of look at a compilation and just see. I didn't want to choose the quote unquote popular songs, but it kind of ended out that way. I've got at least a couple deeper cuts on here, but chose to kick off my album with School of Hard Knocks. I think that's just a great. It doesn't open either album, but I think it's got a cool intro riff. The lyrics, from the School of Hard Knocks, gonna bring you down, you hot shots. We came to rock your socks off. Kind of cheesy, but at the same time, I think it had a cool message and would work out as an opener. And then going to the second album, so Without Love, going with the title cut, and I guess I don't care what anybody says about this song. It's commercial. It's obviously talking about love. Without love, you ain't got nothing at all. But that guitar riff, that main riff that just kind of goes through the whole song, I love the some of the sound effects on his voice. He kind of does some Paul Stanley, ha 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 stuff in there that you get from Kiss. But I always loved that song. So that is track 2. And then I went with one of the quote unquote 2 hits. So Hold On to 18. So going back to the first album, you can't deny it. It's a good song. Love the arpeggiated chords, kind of throughout the the verses, and obviously the chorus is anthemic and directed towards somebody in their late teens. Hold on to 18. Don't let go of your childhood. So that is song 3. And then I went with Bombastic Plastic, which is an interesting song title. But I think it's a cool song. It has a cool drum intro into kind of a mid-tempo riff. And again, that riff reminds me of something, and maybe one of you guys will tell me what it is, but I could not place it. And love the pre-chorus, kind of spinning round and round vocal. And then there's obviously a delay in the chorus, which any listeners of mine know I love vocal delay, even if it's chaotic at times. Love that stuff. So anyway, so that song made my list at number 4, and then went number 5. So again, this is a 10-track album. So ending for the first side, went with Chains Around Heaven. Always loved that riff, kind of a call and response verse with the vocal and riff. Love the vocal harmonies that come in there. And then the chorus, chains, and he's like, chains around heaven, lock you away. They keep me from you forever. Just a cool song. So that closes out my side. So side 2 went with Rockin' on Heaven's Door, which actually kicks off the second album, Without Love. And obviously see what they did there with the song title, not Knocking on Heaven's Door, but Rockin' on Heaven's Door. Chugging intro, cool riff, lots of space in there. Again, chorus, big anthemic chorus, and great harmonies in there. So felt that was a good way to kick off the side. And then song 7, so Wicked Bitch, which comes off of the first album. And again, at first glance, right, you see the title Wicked Bitch, you're thinking, all right, well, what do we got here? But I think this is a cool song. Arpeggiated chords, power chord intro in there, and then the verse, call and response, with the backing vocals there. I think it's a good song. Chorus, you're a wicked bitch. I'm sure the teenagers of the day loved this one, right? They wanted to play it about their girlfriend probably at the time. So track 8 went with Miss Mystery. So that's coming off of the second album. Again, another hit video, and I had to include it. I felt like I had to include it and wanted to put one hit on kind of each side, like the verses, some vocal delay in there, and then the hello during the chorus. Miss Mystery, it's catchy, and there's some great whoa-ohs and oohs in there for you, Steve. So we'll see what you think of that choice. And then my last 2. So I went with One for the Money. I almost put a different song in this slot, and then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go with a kind of a quote unquote deeper cut of theirs, not on a compilation at all. Cool intro. The riff kind of sounds like Rat to me a little bit. Couldn't place the song exactly, but love the call and response with the riff and the vocal. Great harmonies in there. And then the chorus I thought was great. One for the money, one for the road. Just give it to me, honey. One for the money. Whoa, oh. So, and then some underlying double bass drum kicks kind of during that chorus stood out to me as well. And then closing out the album, track 10, Stop the Lightning, which comes off of the second album. Kind of that, starts off with the chorus, just the vocal there kind of reminded me of Def Leppard vocally a little bit, but real melodic vocal in the verse. Chorus, Stop the Lightning, and again, there's keys in there, there's horns, which is interesting for 1985. But I think that's a cool song. Kind of some cheesy lyrics there in the second verse, talking about I was the hunter, she was the game. She left me singing in my own rain. I'd fight and she'd fight too. We'd make some lousy weather. I'm like, oh God, that is right out of 1985. But it didn't deter me enough not to include it. So there you go. 10 tracks, and again, self-titled albums, so no album title. So, BB, what'd you think?
Yeah, nice little album here from Black and Blue. I'm surprised with Bombastic Plastic, One for the Money, and Stop the Lightning. I was kind of surprised by them, but Hold On to 18 and Miss Misery, like you said, Brad, you have to have it in here. You know, those two songs carry this band in this era. But my standouts are definitely School of Hard Knocks and Wicked Bitch. I think Wicked Bitch is probably my favorite off the two albums. Great spot for it. I really dig it. I think you covered it well.
Nice. How about you, Steve?
All right. I'm sorry, Brad, but all the woo-hoos in the world cannot save Miss Mystery for me. That's one of the very few Black and Blue songs that I'm like totally met on. And I mean, I've seen Black and Blue probably 10 times easily. And the second to last time we saw them on Monsters of Rock Cruise, me and BC, we were up front. We hooked up with a bunch of people from fucking, I don't know, Austria or Sweden or something, and we just this one guy kept bringing us beers through the whole show. It was fantastic, and Jamie St. James was sick during that show.
Oh, geez.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
But he came out. You would never be able to tell. But the only way you could tell is he kept going off the stage when he wasn't singing. But when he was out, he was rocking. He kind of reminded me of how Dee Snider used to fucking rock out, like at a show. But fantastic. As far as the picks. I love Black and Blue. I really do. A couple. I thought you left a couple on the table that I probably wouldn't have. But Hold On to 18, must have song. Rockin' on Heaven's Door is fantastic. Wicked Bitch is fantastic. One for the Money is great. Stop the Lightning is freaking awesome. I was surprised that Auto Blast was left on the table, and when they played Strange Things on that last show, we were like, holy shit.
Cow.
Yeah. It was like, we were like knocked down on that one. But you can't go wrong with Black and Blue. I love them guys. I think they're absolutely fucking fantastic. With all the bands like kind of getting scrambled around in Monsters of Rock Cruise, like I was kind of hoping that they would get like tossed in there. Like, because like I said like before, Loudness is off, and then Saxon is off, and there's a couple other ones that were switched out due to whatever reasons. I was kind of hoping that Black and Blue could get thrown on there, although it still could happen, BC. But
We got time.
But I enjoyed listening to these albums. I know the first two albums aren't really they're not on streaming. You can get them on YouTube. But I did bust out my vinyl, and my vinyl is so crackly because I had it on the other day. Where I was like, "What's all that noise?" I'm like, "That's a well-played album, is what that sounds like." So, but just like fantastic.
Nice.
Now, let me ask you.
Auto Blast was on the list, and I replaced it with One for the Money, kind of at the last, minute.
Let me ask you, what would you go with, the original cover, or would you go with the Without Love cover? Neither one are stellar in my book.
Yeah, both of them are pretty bad.
Which I don't know why they went with a drawing though on the first one. I always was wondered about that.
Yeah, that is a surprising choice. Maybe I just have a blue cover. Or a blue and black cover.
I'll tell you what, though, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna. You could, even in that drawing, you could see how massive Tommy Thayer's fucking head is. He's got a melon.
When you look at like the bobbleheads, you're always like, "That's Tommy. That's not Ace." I'm like, "Why?" And you go, "His head's too big."
That's Tommy. Looking at one right now.
That's great.
That's funny.
All right, BC, what did you think?
Oh, come on, Brad. I love Black and Blue. I'm on the same boat as Steve. I mean, that last show on the Monsters of Rock Cruise, they were pulling out some songs. We were like, damn.
Nice.
I mean, these first two albums, back in the day, I played the crap out of them. I mean, my only complaint about Without Love album is probably the production. I don't know. I think it could have been a little bit more rocking. After the first album, and
it's not as crisp.
It's not as crisp and too polished.
Well, it's interesting because Dieter Dirks would produce the first one, and then they had Bruce Fairbairn on the second one, which
he's usually the more polished stuff.
He's more,
yep.
But I mean, these picks. I mean, Hold On 18 is classic. Plastic. Oof. Love that one. One for the Money. Love that song. Stop the Lightning. Miss Misery. I mean, I don't know. I think it's too bubblegum. If that's the word. I mean, Wicked Bitch. You can't go wrong. I mean, to me, there's no bad Black and Blue song. So this is great picks. Love it.
Nice. Dylan?
I'm definitely the least versed when it comes to Black and Blue at the table. I had a chance to see them at M3. I decided to see Mr. Big instead. I definitely made the right choice because Mr. Big...
No, we saw Keel instead, I think.
I think it was Black and Blue. Because Mr. Big kicked ass, but that's neither here nor there. I thought that your picks were very good. The songs that I recognized, I very much like. I like Miss Misery. I don't think it's bad. I like the
it's catchy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I like a good catchy song, and it's not one of those songs that I heard all the time, so I don't have a burnout factor with it, which I'm sure might be the case for a lot of songs from this era that are kind of hits, quote unquote. But yeah, I think your opening up with School of Hard Knocks was a good choice, I think, and yeah, very good first album for tonight.
Nice. Dylan is up.
Yes.
To wrap up.
I'm going alphabetic.
No. Okay.
No, BB's after me.
I know. I'm confused.
Here we go again, BC.
I'm going alphabetically and chronologically. The first band and albums that I picked for tonight are Aerosmith with Toys in the Attic and Rocks. Toys in the Attic released in 1975, produced by Jack Douglas. Rocks came out the year after, 1976, produced by Jack Douglas and Aerosmith. So just the addition of the band having a little more productive control. These are two albums that are considered probably some of their best. They have a lot of their popular songs. And I think that the thing that made me want to pick these two albums was the fact that one album had a song called Toys in the Attic, and the other album had one called Rats in the Cellar. So it's almost like a kind of a sequel of sorts. So I called the album Toys in the Attic, Rats in the Cellar. That's what I did. Of course, I had to open the album with Back in the Saddle. Classic Aerosmith opener. It just has that build-up of an opener going into a rockin' song. Got the horse galloping at the end with the drums. I really like that from our boy Joey Kramer. But that riff is so good with the bass following along. So cool. So I had to open up with that. Then I go into Toys in the Attic. Another great bombastic song to continue the pace of the album that I think, of course, it opens up Toys in the Attic. So, it's a good opener, but it's also a good second song, I think. And then I followed up with Rats in the Cellar. I like the keyboards in Rats in the Cellar. It's kind of a cool little rock and roll addition that you don't often hear with Aerosmith that I think is kind of a different thing for them.
I see a theme here.
Yeah.
You should have called it In the.
Yeah.
In the.
Well, don't worry. I'm going to break off from that with the next song from Toys in the Attic, Adam's Apple. It's a more of a mid-tempo song, but another classic in my opinion. Underrated song from Toys in the Attic. Steve Tyler's vocals in this, he soars at the end there. Dad always loves doing the love at first blush.
Fucking love that. Fucking love it.
And then I end off side one with probably my favorite underrated Aerosmith track, Nobody's Fault, off of Rocks. A very heavy song. Kind of like there's a little bit of harmonica in there, I believe. And it's just a great kind of. I want to say it's Led Zeppelin inspired, but it's not. I keep thinking of Nobody's Fault But Mine. But it has a very different feel to it. Plus, a little jaunty piano as well in the chorus. So I love that jaunty piano. So open it up side two. You have to open side two with Sweet Emotion. It opens up side two on Toys in the Attic. I have to open up side two on this one. Just that amazing bass line. It's a classic for a reason. I heard Alice Cooper sing it with the Hollywood Vampires, so that was really interesting. But, it's a classic for a reason. Then going into a very cool Joe Perry helmed song combination. I love the "I forgot my name." I don't know. That part always gets me. Kind of a cool like rambling riff that really just brings out a cool version of the band. And then I'm for track 8, of course, you have to put "Walk This Way" on there. You know, a classic, named after the one scene in Young Frankenstein, and it's just an amazing song, hit for a reason. It reignited their career when Run DMC did the collab with them. And then, of course, I'm ending off the whole album with Big 10-inch. No, I'm not. I'm ending it with Last Child. Last Child is just such a good Aerosmith song. It's so it's iconic, and I just felt like it would have been a cool ender, like with the name of the song. But you get a nice Brad Whitford solo in this one that everybody thinks is a Joe Perry solo, and wanted to end off an iconic duo of albums with one of the cool iconic songs from that album. So, BB, what did you think of my combo?
Yeah, I was wondering where you're going to go with this, because you can actually make pretty much a greatest hits out of these two albums. You know, there's a lot of big songs on here. But I like how you threw Adam's Apple and Nobody's Fault in there. Mm-hmm. Adam's Apple is probably my favorite out of the two. But my surprise was Combination. I like how you threw that in there, and it works. It seems like this album would flow really nicely. And like I said, I was really anticipating how many hits you're going to throw in there and how many not so much hits in it, because there's probably 10 hits out of the two.
Yeah.
You know, but no, very, very good list.
Thank you. It helps that they're produced very similarly, so you can really interchange the songs pretty easily.
Yeah.
They all kind of have that same feel. Brad, what'd you think of my picks?
So, yeah, when I saw this come across the text chain, I'm like, all right, well, there's no wrong answer here with this. These are their biggest albums of the 70s for sure. And I'm a Rocks guy. As I know there's a Rocks guy. There's always, people saying the Toys is better, Rocks is better. So I would like to say that Rocks wins 5-4 in this, because you had 5 songs from Rocks and 4 from Toys. So I'm a fan of that. Adam's Apple pick, great combination. I agree with you, BB. That was a surprise. And again, you mixed in some of the hits, but then you obviously went deep and heavy with Nobody's Fault, which is great. So yeah, it was fun to go back and listen to these again.
Yeah, I am also a Rocks fan. I prefer Rocks over Toys in the Attic, so that's why I included more from Rocks than Toys.
There you go. Very good.
Dad, what'd you think?
Cool. I just wrote Dylan a note, like Rocks in the Attic or Rocks in the Cellar would have been a cool name for it too. The thing with these two albums is there's not a lot of room for other stuff, because I think there's so many songs you have to put on there.
Yeah.
Like you can't leave off Toys in the Attic. You can't leave off Walk This Way, Sweet Emotion, Back in the Saddle, Last Child. In my opinion, Rats in the Cellar, which is, in my opinion, the best Aerosmith song. But love the Adam's Apple pick. You said I love the Love at First. I fucking love that. I could listen to that on fucking repeat over and over again. Combination, I was kind of a little surprised you put that in there. I was thinking you would have put No More in there. But Nobody's Fault is a great kind of deep track. I think Vince Neil does that on his One Covers album. I think Vince Neil does that. Yeah. That's really good. But, you can't go wrong in that. And I love that people think that the solo in Last Child is Joe Perry when it's Brad Whitford. And I got to see him do that live with Whitford St. Holmes on the Kiss Cruise twice. And he just fucking tore it up. They're all old dudes, but he literally looked like a guy that you just plucked out of the nursing home and put a guitar on him and went up there. And he fucking tore it up. Super nice guy. Talked to him 2 different times on the boat. Super nice, super humble. And I'm glad that he got a moment to shine on an Aerosmith album like that. But he does a lot of other solos and stuff, that people don't think he does. But this is like the main one I think that the people are like, oh my God, Joe Perry tears it up on this one, but he doesn't. But I like it. You can't go wrong with them. And like I said, for as many good songs on there, it doesn't leave a lot of room to put something else in there.
Yeah.
And BB, you were right. I mean, look at Aerosmith's greatest hits. A lion's share of them are from these 2 albums.
Right.
Mm-hmm. BC, what'd you think?
Live. All right, Aerosmith. I mean, again, how can you go wrong? I'm a fan of the '70s Aerosmith compared to their later stuff, which we'll go into another episode on that. Adam's Apple was definitely a standout. Nobody's fault. I heard that. I had to go back to Testament does a cover of it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Which I love.
Yeah, really good cover.
But yeah, I mean, 8 out of these 9s it would definitely be on my list. I mean, great picks. But.
And I think BB is our last
yes.
album for this part of the
part A,
episode.
The side 1 part.
Side 1 of the episode.
All right. I'm still hungover from Marchtalica. I'm gonna bring Metallica back for my 2 albums. I picked Hardwired and Death Magnetic. Hardwired came out in 2008, and Death Magnetic came out in 2016. Hardwired has 12 songs. Death Magnetic had 10, so I have a 12-song album, and I kind of gave them both little dibs here and there. So I just picked 6 from one and 6 from the other. Kind of give them both equal opportunity here because I think these 2 albums are so underrated and there's so much good shit on there. And probably if you asked me to do this next week, I would probably change my whole list and probably change my whole song because there's a lot of good stuff on there and it seems like it's lost. Mm-hmm. I may have even said this, last month. I think these 2 albums get lost in their catalog and nobody gives these 2 albums a chance when they're really, really good. So I named my album Luck Runs Outa. And you'll know why.
That's with the A-H at the end.
Yes. And you'll know why when I go through this. But I'm gonna open my album from the closer from Hardwired. Spit Out the Bone. They closed their album with it. I'm gonna open mine with it. I love that machine gun drum start. I think that's so cool. There's like 3 crazy killer solos in it. So if they can end their album, I'm gonna start my album with it. Song number 2, I'm gonna go to Death Magnetic with Cyanide. I think Lars is such an MVP on this song. He beats the shit out of the drums on this song, and I'm like, man, that is so good. And I thought it would fit right there from Spit Out the Bone. Is so fast and heavy. Cyanide is like the little sister here, holding everything up for song 2. But man, the time changes in this song are crazy. It's just a good song from Death Magnetic. Song number 3, I'm gonna go back to Hardwired for Atlas Rise. James's screaming vocals are just so cool. A couple Kurt's extended solos really make it good. It's just a great another fast song from these guys. Song number 4, back to Death Magnetic. My Apocalypse. Another super fast song from these guys. A killer solo to match. More crazy time changes. And what I love about these 2 albums, there's like 3 solos in each song. There's so many crazy time changes. It's not like the old Metallica. It is like, polished look at the new Metallica, which I absolutely love. Song number 5 from Death Magnetic. We're going back to back. That Was Just Your Life. I love the galloping drum beat in this song. Just the drums in this song sell it for me. Great song. Song number 5. Back to Hardwired. We're gonna pick the song Hardwired.
6.
I'm sorry, 6. And this will be my closer for side 1. They opened up their album. I'm gonna close my side with this one. Crazy riffs from Kurt and James go back and forth, and even James's fast singing on this one. I really, really enjoy this one. So we're gonna flip the album over. We're gonna stay with the Hardwired album, the Moth into Flame. This song always reminded me of like old Metallica. The layered guitars in it are great. There's even some really cool band harmonies in this song, which really surprised me when I hear it. Song number 8 off of Death Magnetic, Judas Kiss. There's some really cool guitar distortion in this. Great song. I love James's transition from his screaming right into a smooth chorus with his vocals. Really, really cool. See, this is where I screwed up because I have side 2, 1, 2, 3. Now I gotta add here. So song number 9 off of Hardwired, Man Unkind. This is a little bit slower start, but I think it has like a very Iron Maiden-ish feel. But then it like kicks into the Metallica that you know and love. Fast right after that. It's just a great, great song. Song number 10 from Death Magnetic, Broken Beat and Scared. This has such like a catchy chorus for a change for these guys. This is just a straightforward rockin' song in my eyes. Song number 11, back to Hardwired with Confusion. It has that really cool like Death March beat drum start into like a 70s beat, into like a killer riff on top of all of that. Great song from that one. It's probably my favorite off that Hardwired album. And to close out my album is going to be from Death Magnetic, All Nightmare Long. And of course, that's where my title comes from in the lyrics of that song. My favorite song off of Death Magnetic. Super fast, super catchy, great closer. I hope I did Dylan justice because Dylan loves Death Magnetic. So, Dylan, how did I do with the Death Magnetic songs?
Well, it's really crazy because I would have ordered it very differently. Because you have that ground ball of That Was Just Your Life as the opener. Because it has the heartbeat opener. But you went with Spit Out the Bone, which very, very interesting choice for the opener. That was like right off the bat you threw me for a loop because I'm like, oh, of course he's gonna pick
drum beat and it's extended. It's just like that'd be so cool for an opener.
Yeah, No Day That Never Comes. I noticed that. Now That We're Dead. Noticed that as well.
Okay.
Ending with All Nightmare Long was my favorite choice you made because I thought that is such an epic song that it's track 5 on the album. And like they end off with My Apocalypse because like they're kind of doing like the Damage Incorporated fast ender. But All Nightmare Long could have been a really good closer because it has that epicness to it. Yeah, your order is crazy. You left out the songs that I probably would have left out, like Suicide Redemption,
right?
Unforgiven 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very interesting. I would definitely like to listen to that order and see how it plays out because
I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah, definitely do that because I'd be interested to hear how that sequences because that order never even crossed my mind. So I'm proud of you for throwing me for a loop.
Nice. All right, BC, what do you think?
Metallica. I mean, as anybody knows, Death Magnetic, I didn't get into that till a few years ago because after Saint Anger, I was kind of scared of Metallica, and I missed out on this album for a few years, but loved it. Death Magnetic.
They were scared of you too, BC.
Well, they should be. But that and Hardwire, they finally, I don't know, are back to Metallica. But this list is great. I mean, Cyanide, come on. Atlas Rise, That Was Just Your Life, Hardwired. Broken, Beaten, Scared.
Scarred.
Scared.
It's scarred, people. It's not scared.
I'm scared to say this.
I'm scared to say scarred.
Because it rhymes with hard. We die hard, not we die haired.
Spit Out the Bone. I mean, the drum, like you said, the drumming. I mean, this is 2 great albums, and this is a great list.
Nice. Righty, what did you think, buddy?
Metallica.
Was that Lars's kid that you recorded?
Yeah. Metallica. Well, BC's buddy would definitely be rolling around in the glass on this one for sure. I'm just, if you didn't pick like my favorite songs, you would have been asked to leave. Like if you left off like Moth the Flame, Atlas Rise, Cyanide.
Damn,
those are songs that you can't leave off. Like,
no, I know that's what I mean. But some more interesting choices, I think. You know, and I talked about it when I think we did the Kirk solo one. Judas Kiss, like that first 4 minutes of that song is fucking brutal for me.
A lot of time changes.
But when it gets into the solos and shit, he fucking just tears it up. Man Unkind was an unusual one. I never thought you would have picked for sure. Like in Dylan's right, like No Halo on Fire. I was surprised, but you can throw a dart at one of these two albums, especially Death Magnetic, because I mentioned probably 8,000 times Kirk was like, "Fuck you! I'm making up for the lack of solos on Saint Anger on this album and just fucking tearing it up." And and they did. He did for sure. But cool one though. I like it. And All Nightmare Long was the title, right?
No, it's Luck Runs Out Top.
Oh, Luck Runs Out Top. Okay.
From All Nightmare Long.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like it.
Yeah. And only, the 12 songs is only an hour and 17 minutes. So,
although I'm surprised and a little shocked that you didn't have Unforgiven 3 on there. Because he always has to throw a ballad or some kind of acoustic shit on something.
No Day That Never Comes either. He didn't put any of the ballads on there.
See?
That's not a ballad.
The Day That Never Comes is a ballad.
We went over this. That's not a fucking ballad.
It is a ballad. It's not a track slot.
Ballad. It's not a fucking ballad.
Ready?
Fight.
All right, Brad, what'd you think, buddy?
So you made a great point at the beginning of your section here that these two albums, I think when they came out, people were obviously excited because they were back to Metallica, right? But I think they were quickly forgotten. They played stuff live off of them and that type of thing. But I feel like nobody really talks to them or talks about them a lot. I think what they did too is on both of them, I think they kind of combined 80s and 90s Metallica and put it in here, because you've got songs that are, epic songs that have tempo changes and lots of different parts, and then you've got songs that are just kind of straight ahead, 4.5 minute rockers. So I think they did a good job when they did this to kind of try to cater to, because I'm sure they got some new fans in the mid 90s with those Load albums versus what they came out with in the 80s. But the 12 songs, so again with this, I kind of played along, and so there were only 4 that I did not have on my list. I'm with Dylan. I mean, Spit Out the Bone. Whoo! to start off, that was a great pick, total jam, interesting start. Atlas Rise, I like the song, but is it just me, or does the chorus sounds a lot like Blackened to me? Is that just me, or
the cadence of it? I can see.
Yeah, it's got, there's something in there that always reminded me of that. All Nightmare Long. So in my notes, I just very short notes kind of on each of these songs. I'm not sure what to do with this song. Right, it's fast as hell, but it's got kind of that melodic, chorus to it. But I included it. In my album, or I would have included it. Moth to the Flame. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw them live on that tour, but they had those, lights that were trying to look like, or made to look like moths flying around a light. I thought that was so cool. Awesome. But that song came across so well live. So yeah, glad that you included that. But yeah, overall, great list, and it was fun. I'm guilty of kind of forgetting about these albums, so I'm glad I was able to go back and listen to them proactively like I did. So great list.
Nice. All right, you ready? Take it away to the Gem song.
Yeah, Brad's going to listen to the Gem song here.
Yeah, so I got the note saying, "Hey, you want to choose it?" I said, "Sure." So with all these different bands that we chose tonight, and it's a great variety, I was thinking, I wonder if I can find something where at least a couple of the members from the different bands collaborated. And unfortunately, it was a little trickier than I thought. And hell, I mean, Dokken's going to show up later, and George Lynch has 50 things going on. I thought that would have been easy to find some collaborations. But so I did find one. So there were members of Dokken and members of Iron Maiden that were involved in the hearing aid project that Dio shepherded back in the mid 80s, whatever year that was, 85, 86? I guess I don't recall.
I want to say 84.
84, was it even earlier? Okay. So anyway, so you got members from the Dokken band. So Don, Mick, George, and Jeff all were involved. And then you got Dave Murray and Adrian Smith that played some classic Maiden guitar harmonies on the main song that was released from that album. So here's Stars from that project.
All right, welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed Stars from
Hearing
Aid, I guess, yeah. And the amount of shredding in that song is just fucking incredible. Check it out. I must have watched the making of video probably 60 times. Just and literally when they start the soloing in that song, I can literally picture each guy playing each part. Just absolutely
Oh yeah, so fun.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely check that out. And I have the album too. They put out an album that has that on there. It has the radio edit version. It has the long version, and then there's like Lick It Up's on there. There's a couple other. There's like 5 or 6 other songs on there, which is weird. I'm pretty sure Lick It Up is on there. I'm like, why the fuck is that on there?
I think it's a live version of Heaven's on Fire from the Animalized Live. It's like the raw version of that. I think it's live, actually. I think.
I was gonna say I can grab it, but it's in the other room.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go reverse order here. So BB, you have the next one. Go.
Alrighty.
Ahead.
Well, since my Metallica album was a difference of like 8 years, I figured I'd do something like 8 months because it's probably that close. I'm not 100% sure. It's probably a little bit over 8 months. But I wanted to do LA Guns, their debut self-titled, and Cocked and Loaded. Their self-titled came out in 88. The other one was 89. I'm going to do a 14-song album, 7 on one side, 7 on the other, so that's easy. And once again, I'm just going to do like I did the Metallica one. I'm going to pick 7 from one, 7 in there, and make this shit work.
Good luck.
Designers make it work.
That's it. We're going to fight. See, I didn't even start BC, and he's starting his shit.
I didn't take my Geritol today.
He's hilarious.
All right. So I'm going to open up my album from the debut, but I'm going way deep in the track. I'm going to go Hollywood Tease to open up this album. Has a big guitar, big drum start. It'd be perfect for the opening track, I think. It's even a little bit faster and kind of heavier for LA Guns. So song number 2, I'm going to stay with the same album from their debut, No Mercy. Got to put it on there. Great chugging riff. Cool call and response parts. At the chorus, Tracy Gunn's guitar is great in this song. Song number 3, we're going to go to Cock and Loaded to Never Enough. Another song you kind of have to put on there. If we're going to play that game, this is probably their biggest hit. So Never Enough is going to be in the 3 spot. I think Steve's drums on this are great, not Steve Wright's drums.
Mine are
but
better.
they probably come close. But there's some great harmonies band harmonies in this song, which is kind of surprising from LA Guns. Song number 4, back to the debut, Sex Action.
Whoa.
BC loves this song.
I do.
It has that gritty, dirty, sleazy feel to it. Phil has some screaming vocal parts in it, which are really, really cool. Speaking of sleaze, we're going to go back to Cock and Loaded to Sleazy Come, Easy Go. I absolutely love this song. Even though it's kind of bit on the slower side, it's got like a that sleazy blues feel to it, which is totally like different for 1988. But I love how that song works. Song number 6 from the debut is Bitch Is Back. Fast rocker. Some really cool Tracy Gunn guitar squeals on it. The solo was killer. Just a great song. And to close side 1, we're going to go to Cock and Loaded to Slap in the Face. Fast rocker. Great big drum sounds. Band vocals are fantastic in this one. And I think the solo is what I like to say, perfectly short. So we're going to flip that bitch over. We're going to go to side B, song number 8. Off of Cock and Loaded, Malaria. Cool guitar distortion parts. There's even some sprinkles of a little Eddie Van Halen in some of Tracy Gunn's playing in the song. That's kind of why that song is there. Actually, definitely have to throw it as the opener because the guitar parts are just so cool. Song number 9 off the debut, One More Reason. I think this is kind of like a more of a deeper cut off that album, but I just always loved that song. Song number 10 of Cock and Loaded, you kind of got to put it somewhere. Rip and Tear. I know it's the popular song. You know, this is another one of those songs that you kind of have to put it on there because there's not that many standout songs. And Rip and Tear is one of their songs, so we're gonna throw that right there in the 10 spot. Song number 11 from the same album, I Want to Be Your Man. I love this song. Great song, very, very deep in the album, but I think the band vocals throughout that whole song is just so good. Song number 12 from the debut, Shoot for Thrills. This song, I think this is a very deep track on the debut album. Great song. A little bit on the heavier side for those guys. I thought it was really, really good. Song number 13 from Cock and Loaded, Magdalene. This is a song I want to put because it's different. There's like a different like unique sound. I think there's like one of those. I think Tracy plays like an electric setar in this song. So it's definitely different, but it rocks. You know, towards the end, it has a great extended solo in it. And to close the album out, song number 14, Electric Gypsy. You know, it is a popular song, but I think this is another one of those heavy songs. Has some cool screaming band vocals, big drum sound. I think this would be a perfect closer. So, like I said, there's some hidden gems. There's some deeper tracks. There's some hits on there. I tried to cover everything. How'd I do, Righty?
You did fucking fantastic.
Woo!
And let me tell you.
Yes!
Let me tell you
I'm gonna
why.
retire on top. I'm out of here.
Let me tell you why. Because Ballad of Jane is not on there. Thank you.
That's on the
fucking
extended Japanese bonus.
Well, that's why I live in the
album.
United States. No. I think these are another two albums you could throw a dart and you could hit something good unless you hit Ballad of Jane. That's your tough luck. Like the first, and I hadn't listened to either one of these albums in a while. And when I put the first one on, I forgot how fucking raw this album is.
It's fucking phenomenal.
I saw them on the first tour. They opened up for AC/DC. I want to say Blow Up Your Video tour.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Absolutely friggin' just killer. No Mercy, Sex Action, One More Reason, Electric Gypsy, Bitches Back. Those ones I think you kind of have to have on there. From Cocked and Loaded, I know there's people going, I love Ballad of Jane, you know, that should be on there. I disagree, but from there, Letting Go, I thought Slap in the Face was a cool one to end side one. I thought that was a cool ending to it. And Rip and Tear, Sleazy Come Easy Go, Never Enough Malaria. Magdalene's was a kind of a different pick there. The only other one I would have thrown on there, but I mean, you have Hollywood Tease also, and Shoot for Thrills, which is friggin' fantastic. Hollywood Tease opening it up is cool because he sings that so fast. I'm like, that's one of them that you kind of it's hard to keep track of what the hell he's even singing. But the only other one I would have thrown, probably two on there, I would have thrown on there somewhere if possible, would have been 17 Crash and Wheels of Fire.
All right.
I think they're two. But, I mean, either album, really, I mean, I could tolerate Ballad of Jane if I had to. I wouldn't have picked it for my thing. But these two albums are just like 1-2 punch, just out of the box. Great stuff. And they changed. They got a little more, I don't even want to say druggy or whatever for the third album. Hollywood Vampires was the third one, right?
Yep.
No, that was more.
What was it?
I think it was more commercial. I don't know.
I think they definitely changed after the first two albums, but I think Cocked and Loaded was a good progression from the first one. way more. I mean, way more polished. Way more polished. It's kind of like the first two Faster Pussycat albums. I think you could kind of put them side by side. As
and then Whipped came out.
And then Whipped came out, and Dylan had his favorite album. So looking good there, Bannon. See that?
And it's funny.
No rehab for you this week so far.
Perfect. Phew, thank God. But it's funny how a year difference. I made like the album on Apple, and I would like shuffle songs and blah blah blah. How crisp and clear the debut album is, and Cock and Loaded is like
a little muddy,
8 like decibels down, and like you could tell which ones were on which album.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
You're like a freaking year apart. Like, and I don't know why Apple can't put everything on the same level.
Right. If there's one thing I don't like about Apple Music, that's it.
That's it.
Because you could put on, put on something that came out even like 10 years ago, and then put like Van Halen 1 on there, or like David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile. The sound difference is astounding. Just the like volume and how they are. It's that good point, BB. But two fantastic albums. Tough to pick.
Right. What'd you think, Brad? Are you into LA Guns, buddy?
Oh yeah.
Boy.
This was in my sweet spot right in high school. So both of them too. It's interesting. Both albums. I loved the first sides of both of them kind of more than the second side. And I think the first side of the first one is perfect. You only left off one song. You left off Nothing to Lose, which I would have included on a compilation. But then the second album comes out, 14 songs. That's a lot of songs. I'm surprised they had that many on there. But yeah, Hollywood Tease, that was a surprise. And again, that's a cover, right? Isn't that a cover of a girl song? Isn't that Phil from Def Leppard's band?
Oh, Phil Collins, Phil Lewis wrote it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, because Phil Lewis was obviously singing in that band. So interesting song to kick off with. I mean, Never Enough, perfect song in my opinion. Love that song. And then, like Malaria and Sleazy Come, Sleazy Go, you even commented. I mean, those are slower tempo, but they kind of broke up the album well. I think that's a good decision to kind of have them in there, and they're separated by a couple songs, but they kind of add something unique to it. So yeah, overall great album, and closing with Electric Gypsy. Yeah, that's a ripper to close with. So
Thank you.
Good list.
Thank you. Dylan, what'd you think?
Yes, I'm a lot more well versed with LA. Well, not well versed. I'm better versed with LA Guns than I was with Black and Blue. I'm very glad you put Sleazy Come, Sleazy Go on there. That's probably my favorite song from those two albums. I love that slinky bass coming in and the anyway you can. Like such a cool
but it's got a cool swing to it.
Yeah,
too.
it's got that swing. I love a good swing. Yeah, I just have to say, what a shame what happened to Jane, that you didn't put.
She couldn't make it. That's what happened to Jane. She couldn't make it.
She was drunk.
That's the only
she
flaw.
She didn't make the cut.
That was his Easter present to me.
Yeah.
It's the only flaw in your album. It's the only.
I should have opened and closed with it.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna close with it. I'm like, what a.
I told you that it's on the Japanese bonus track. It's live from M3 2009.
Thought it would have been a great.
I missed that
closer,
when I was in the bathroom.
See,
that's the only issue I have.
Nice. All right, BC, bring it home, buddy.
All right, LA Guns, baby.
Guns.
I love the debut album. When that came out, I was like, "Fuck, these guys are fucking great, ripping album." And then they came out, of course, with the next one, which I agree with Steve. I mean, these both great albums, both different, but both great. I mean, it could be maybe 3 songs less on the second one, I would say. Powder Jane for you. But I mean, No Mercy, Sex Action. I mean, the first album, just to me, is iconic. I was shopping at a local record store back in the day. It's gone no more. LA Guns first album. I'm like, ooh. Grabbed it. I'm walking up to the counter, and the guy's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing much." He's smoked up. I flip over he flips over the album. I'm looking at it. I never looked at the back of the album. He said, "Ooh, LA Guns, it's phenomenal."
Right.
And I looked at it. He flipped over. He goes, and I'm looking at it. It's autographed by the band.
Nice.
every member of the first band is autograph. Anyways, Shoot for Thrills. I mean, that's really a Sweet Pain song. Because that's Kelly Nichols' band before L.A. Guns.
Look at all these covers.
All these covers.
Jesus Christ.
Sweet
And I'm not the
Pain
cover
cover.
guy. I don't even know.
Well, I don't know if it'd be a cover. He wrote it, so technically it's his song. So he went to a different band.
He can do what he wants.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants. But
Is that where Nothing Better to Do came from? That's on the live album after this one?
Got nothing better to do.
Kelly Nichols sings it.
I don't know.
Because it's not an album track, but it's on that live album. One Night on the Strip.
I haven't. I know what you mean, but I don't know. I have the Sweet Pain album.
Dylan's going to put that one on the Spotify playlist, just so you can check
But
it
that's
out.
ridiculous.
Okay.
Because when I heard it, I heard this before. And he was in the band Sweet Pain out of New York City before L.A. Guns.
His love was driving him.
Sweet
No, not that one. Not that one.
Sounds awesome.
Take it back.
Yeah.
But, I mean, L.A. Guns, this is a great album. I love it. Love it.
And I ground balded it, and I named the album Loaded Guns.
Loaded Guns.
Nice.
Loaded Guns.
Loaded Guns.
They're French.
Yeah.
Loaded Guns.
All right. Who's next, Righty?
Did everybody go?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right.
W.
Up. Oh, no, Dylan's up. Dylan's up. Sorry.
He's always forgetting.
Well, first off, I want to apologize to Brad because I forgot that he was going to be on this episode, and I usually keep my metalcore stuff to just the four of us. So apologies starting off. With that intro, I'm sure everybody already has figured out that I decided to do Ice Nine Kills, and the two albums that I am combining are The Silver Scream from 2018 and The Silver Scream 2, Welcome to Horrorwood from 2021. Both of them produced by Drew Folk. These are the albums that got me into Ice Nine Kills. They are definitely their most popular albums by far, and they were the only songs that were played when we saw them on the Trinity of Terror tour. From those two albums were the only songs that were played. I don't blame them because they have a lot of good songs on these albums. 13 songs on the first Silver Scream and 14 songs on the second Silver Scream. I decided to go for the 14 so I could give equal love to both albums because both of these albums are very near and dear to my heart. I decided to name the album The Silver Screams to kind of play along with some horror movie naming conventions like Aliens. So I just wanted to do that. I opened up the album with the album opener from the first Silver Scream, The American Nightmare, the song based off of Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's a really cool opener with kind of the old 50s infomercial, about getting enough sleep. And it's a great opener. It really sets the tone and the pacing for the album. Then I go into right into the news broadcast of a wanted serial killer getting killed, and then we get a little Toys R Us love with Assault and Batteries. This song is just manic and fun. All these different like kid noises and like craziness going on. The solo in this song is so fucking good. It rips and just kicks your ass. You feel like you are assaulted after this song. And, you won't ever grow up. You won't make it past 6 because this 2-foot-tall demonic doll will make you his bitch.
Yes.
Fucking love that.
Come on. Fantastic. So then from there we go into... and that song was based on Child's Play, the Chucky movies. Then we go back to the first Silver Scream with Stabbing in the Dark, based off of Halloween. This song has a lot of cool atmosphere to it. There's a lot of great references to the Halloween score. And even a little bit of Mr. Sandman with the bum 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 bum. Fantastic. Really, really great song from that album. Then we go back over to the sequel for a little Funeral Derangements, based off Pet Sematary. Sometimes Dead is Better. Pretty heavy song. We get to experience Gage getting hit by the truck in this song. It's a great interpretation of the book/movie. Then we go to track number 5, going back to the first album with a little Jaws, Rockin' the Boat. I love the shark attack in the middle, and there's such awesome references to the movie. Smile, you son of a bitch, going into the breakdown, and then the breakdown is the Jaws theme. So cool. And then ending off, well, not ending off side one. We're going back to the sequel for probably the oldest song the oldest movie that's referenced on these albums, the shower scene, referencing Psycho, of course. A little lighter of a song to kind of lighten up the tone of this first side. It's a great song. They did it on stage. They did the Psycho Killer shower scene on stage, which was really cool. And then ending off side one with a little bit of Huey Lewis in the News, Hip to Be Scared, based off of American Psycho. I love the new wavy part in the middle of this song. It just completely makes the song for me. Awesome electronic drums that actually kind of work for the cheesiness of the song and the "Hey Paul," so good. And then we're opening up side two with "Welcome to Horrorwood." We're on the sequel part of the album, and how's this for an establishing shot? It's such a cool wordplay where anyone would kill for a callback. The only place it pays to be a hack. So good. Then we're sitting around the campfire talking about Friday the 13th with "Thank God It's Friday." You get the chi ha ha ha's. And I even like towards the end of the song they do the fake out serene ending with the jump scare coming back in. It's very cool how they mirrored the first movie with this, because you have the scene where Alice is in the boat on the lake after everything's over. She just killed Mrs. Voorhees, and then Jason as a kid jumps out into the boat. Really, really great scene that they kind of replicated on the song really well. Track 10, we're celebrating Christmas with "Silent Night, Deadly Night" for Merry Xmas. Fa la 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 Feliz Navidad. It's just a fun song. We reference Garbage Day from the sequel of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is a really weird scene. Definitely look it up if you haven't seen it. There's this guy going around this neighborhood, and this other guy's taking out the trash, and he gets shot by this guy. It's weird. Track 11, we're going to hell for the Hellraiser franchise. The Box. All hail the Priest of Hell, Master of Sin. So good. It has that kind of epic feel to it. Spencer's vocals are fantastic on this song. It's just a really great song from the sequel, Welcome to Horrorwood 2. Track 12 is reference to American Werewolf in London, a movie Dad I think you like quite a bit. Love Bites. This is the kind of ballad of the album. Howl at the Moon, How Can It Be? It's so sweet. Really great guest vocals. I can't remember who the guest vocalist is, but You Bit Off More Than You Could Chew.
Isn't that Shaddix guy?
No, it's not Jacoby Shaddix. He's in Hip to Be Scared.
Okay, I knew
it's a female vocalist in Love Bites, because it's a duet. Track 13, the penultimate track. I'm wearing the shirt of it. Of course, I have to go Ex Mortis, based off of The Evil Dead. It's a fun, weird, vaudeville kind of circus song. There's some jaunty piano in there. It's just such a fun track, referencing some great stuff from The Evil Dead. Swallow This, groovy, of course. So check the Book of the Dead off your reading list. Necronomicon, Ex Mortis. So good. And then, of course, I had to end the album with the closer from the first Silver Scream, It Is the End. It's just a really epic closer based on, of course, Stephen King's It. You get some clown honking noises in there. Georgie getting his arm bit off. Just like Georgie, it's all out of hand. It's a really great song. And it's also got some ska feel to it, which I found really interesting the first time I heard it. And I just think it's a really great way to close out this combo of an album. So I'm very interested to hear what you had to think of this, Brad, because I don't know how familiar you are with this part of metal.
Not very. And my first thought after listening to the first album, I was like, I wonder what Sonny Pooney would think of this. So
he probably hates it, but he might like it.
I mean, he might. I mean, you guys said, I don't know who all went to the show. Who went to the concert?
It was me and Steve, me and my dad.
Okay. So, I mean, this, I don't think that I'm the target audience for this music and for this stuff, but I will give it credit from the standpoint of it was very creative. I mean, I started listening to it. I didn't know what they were doing, until I started hearing lyrics, and I'm like, okay. And then I started to dive into, okay, this is based on this movie and all of that. So I will give it kudos from that standpoint. And again, this stuff to me, again, there's obviously the Cookie Monster, if you want to call it that, vocal or whatever, but there's melody in every single one of these songs. And I like the melody, that I heard the melodic parts of it. It's the other stuff. I just don't get it. It's just not for me. Mm-hmm. Now, there were 2 songs. It was funny, Dylan, as I was going through this and you were doing everything, I did a 14 song track list, and there were only 5 that you had that I didn't have, but there were 2 songs on the sequel, so The Box and Fly, and I thought both of those songs were maybe the most listenable to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were almost, they were melodic almost throughout the whole thing. I thought both of those songs were really good. Am I going to listen to this again? Probably not. But like I said, I'll give them credit. It was a creative idea, and I like being exposed to different stuff, even if I don't like it. So you don't need to apologize for choosing it. I would have never listened to it without it. So thanks for choosing it.
And thank you for having an open mind with you to listen to.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I made sure not to pick Take Your Pick featuring Corpse Grinder. Since that's like the heaviest song on the 2 albums.
Which one?
Take Your Pick, the one based on My Bloody Valentine with the, the side for homicide. Okay, BC, what'd you think?
Again, we've gone over because you guys bring this up all the time, this band. And there's so much things I like about it, and I keep saying I gotta get into it, I gotta sit down and listen to it more, and I never do. So I'm guilty on that. But like you said, it sounds like Assault and Battery. I mean, like hip to be scared. Welcome to Horrorwood. I mean, I see where this band's going. It's fun. And I could do some Cookie Monster, not total Cookie.
In moderation,
which these guys do. And again, I'm going to say it again. I'm probably going to be 4 or 5 months back down the road. I'd be like, shit, I didn't do it. I got to listen to more of these guys. It's kind of fun. I mean, like, because I grew up and saw these movies and everything, and I can relate to the lyrics in them. And I mean, I got to listen to more of it. I just got to
think outside the box.
I gotta sit down and say, we're doing this today. But no, I mean, good. I mean, like you said, there's between the 2 albums, there's very good picks.
Nice. BB?
Yes, you have turned me on to these guys, several times, and this band is the only band in my catalog that actually has Cookie Monster vocals.
That's huge.
That is super huge.
Super huge.
These guys are all over the place, and they make it work, and it's just crazy how they make it work, and how all these songs are tied into movies somehow. Like the thought process is just crazy with this band. Like, it just blows me away how, like, Assault and Batteries has, like, the Toys R Us theme in there, and Stabbing in the Dark is about Jason.
Michael
Myers, sorry.
No, it's okay.
And it's just mind-blowing. And the music is great, and like I said, I can tolerate the Cookie Monster because, it's not that much of it, but it works. And then another one, Welcome to Horrorville is great. It's probably one of my favorite ones. And The Box is another good song. And, if it wasn't for this podcast, I would honestly, 100%, never even give these guys a shot. Mm-hmm. But like I said, you've opened up a new avenue, and I absolutely love these guys.
I'm glad. And how about you, Dad?
These guys are, I wouldn't even call it a guilty pleasure of mine because and once again, another one that I'm glad that Dylan brought to the podcast, because I would have never checked these guys out either, for sure. And I admire and I love their dedication to their craft. The thought put into these, the little things you get in there, the fuck you, I fucking love that. Like shit like that, and Hip to Be Squared. Hey, do you like Ice Nine Kills? Not really. Like shit like that is put in these songs, the thought put into them. And I was coming back from my lunch today, I had to. No, actually, I didn't get a lunch. I was coming from somewhere this morning, and what the hell song was it? The Assault Batteries was on actually, and I'm like, just the musicmanship on this, the time changes, the drumming is fucking insane on these albums, and it's two different bands doing these albums, right?
Basically, yeah, they kind of had like a big lineup shift between the two albums.
Yeah, but I mean, couple songs that I would have picked, but I don't even know over what. Like Sausages was great. The Jig Is Up is great. Great Mistake, fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Rainy Day, which is one of my favorites. Stephen
Rainy
King
Day
books.
is Resident Evil.
Oh, okay, Resident Evil.
It is the end, is
fucking
it?
fantastic. Oh, okay. Just and Brad brought it up to the Fly.
Yeah, Fly's great.
I love that. I saw that movie in the theaters when it came out. Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis.
Be afraid. Be very
fucking
afraid.
crazy movie, man. When like I had seen the classic one when that came out, but this one was like, I mean, even for whatever year it came out, 80 something it came out, the effects for then compared to what the first movie was like when he's like pulling the fingernails off and shit, just like fucking crazy shit.
David Cronenberg's good.
And like I said, I love their dedication to the craft. I think they do a great job. They were fucking fantastic live.
So good. They were so good.
I honestly don't see how they could pull that off without some help.
Yeah.
There's like four different
like a lot of the like sound effects and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean But they were. I mean, like there's one guy that does the roar, then there's another guy that does the medium stuff. I mean, you got the Spencer, the main guy. He does but like the melodic parts in the songs are fantastic, and I think that's the thing. It's not all the Cookie Monster stuff. It's not all the blast beat shit. There's melodies, there's harmonies in every song, and just them going back and forth multiple times in each song, like. It's crazy. It's just, and if you're a horror fan and you like metal and shit like that, you could get past that crazy shit because it's a horror thing. So you get that, you know what I mean? You could feel that in the songs.
Yeah.
But just this is another two albums I think you could have thrown a dart and just had a fucking album. There's not even the only one that I talked about it on the first time we did this, Farewell to Flesh from Candyman. And it's the only song I identify with because it's the only movie I haven't seen out of all these.
They also have really good music videos.
But then them two, the only thing Dylan said, and they did do the shower scene live on stage. They had the opaque shower curtain up, and you could see the girl in the shower, and you could see the stabbing. The only thing I think they dropped the bomb was they didn't have the blood splatter against the shower curtain. That's the only. I was like, I was so hoping for it, and they didn't do it. So Spencer, if you're listening to this podcast, get some fucking blood out. You guys can afford to buy a new fucking shower curtain every show. Just do that, please. So when we see you open for Metallica, hopefully we do. That'll be different.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it in the round.
Yeah, it's going to be odd.
Yeah, I think that's everybody.
All right, so that brings us to Brad.
I think I'm up, yeah. So going backwards in chronology, again, I went alphabetically, which is why Fastway was second behind Black and Blue. So I chose the first two albums, obviously, which are the most well-known albums from Fastway, both produced by Eddie Kramer, which is not a bad thing. And again, only a year apart, actually, between, I think the first one was 83 and the second one was 84. Not a specific date. I couldn't find a specific date on either one, but obviously Fast Eddie Clark, Dave King on vocals, and again, I'm sure most people listening to your podcast knows who these guys are. But I've always thought, you know what, these two albums, there's good. I mean, both of them are great, but I think there's a way to trim this down to one. So we'll see what you guys think of this. So 11 songs, because the second one is 11. I think the first one was 10. And I have a title. I have a album title. And I went with, so on both album covers, there's obviously a theme with these guys with the name Fastway, but I'm going to call the album Checkered Flag. Because the first album's got a checkered flag on it, and the other one's got a race car on it with checkered flags around. So that's the album title. And I'm starting off with All Fired Up, which is the title track from the second album. Upbeat riff, just a ripper, absolutely. And Dave King sounds great on it. Track 2, going back to the debut, and Feel Me, Touch Me, Do Anything You Want, leaving it in the second slot. Love the groove of that song. Love Dave's double-tracked vocal in the chorus. Just a great song. It's got harmonica in there that leads into the guitar solo, but always loved that song. Back to the second album with Tell Me. I know it was a quote-unquote hit. They had a video for it. Just a great mid-tempo song, but the chorus, I think, is so good, so melodic. And again, love Dave's vocal on this song. Always, I think I actually remember seeing the video for this song back in the day. So great song. Sticking with the second album, actually the next track, Hung Up on Love. Just a great arranged song. Love the riff. Love the pre-chorus and the chorus itself. Underlying riff during that chorus is fantastic. And then at the end, kind of the outro, you see I'm hung up on love. I mean, he is just bringing it. So love that song. Track 5, going with Heft. So back to the first album. Again, kind of a mid-tempo haunting type riff. So again, wanted to get something in there to kind of mix it up a little bit. Again, great vibe, and chorus kind of picks up tempo a little bit, and back to a kind of a cool vibe underlying the solo. Next, back to the second album, Steal the Show. Fantastic riff, driving bass. Again, great pre-chorus and choruses, these songs. I mean, they're well-arranged songs. It's not just verse, chorus. There's a lot more going on in here. And again, just Dave King's vocal, can't say enough about what he pulls off on these albums. Back to the first album, so the biggest hit, the only thing you heard on the radio as far as I know from these guys, so say what you will. Again, somewhat similar feel to Feel Me, Touch Me, a little bit with regards to the kind of the hammer-ons in there during the verse. And, the chorus, I can remember hearing this on the radio maybe before I even knew who it was, and I thought at times kind of Vince Neil guttural vocal. Again, I'm not comparing Vince Neil to Dave King, but there's just something about it always reminded me of Vince Neil in there. So now going, let's see, back to the second album, second song, Misunderstood. Again, driving riff, great vibe, kind of a Nugent free-for-all feel to me. But again, love the track. Great breakdown in there. And outro, Hey Woman, I've been a little misunderstood. So cool song there. And then I'm going back to the first album, You Got Me Running. Guitar picking, percussion, intro, verse, vocal delivery, kind of reminded me of something from Def Leppard, and I couldn't place it. And again, chorus, Great White, man. Great White, I feel, lifted some stuff from this band, and whether Jack, kind of sounded like Dave King a little bit. Maybe the song Heartbreaker from Great White in this song a little bit, but great track. And then the last two are coming from the second album, and it's interesting because the one is my 10th song is actually the last song on the second album. So if you could see, cool mellow intro and then kicks in. Underlying riff actually sounds like Dokken in My Dreams to me. But again, just great choruses with these songs. And then my last track, so I'm going with The Stranger. which is kind of obviously a more mellow track. But when that chorus kicks in, and his vocal, someone's knocking on my door. It was a stranger. Absolutely love it, and wanted to close it out with a little bit mellower song. So there you go, 11 tracks, Checkered Flag. So Steve, what'd you think?
All right, Checkered Flag, cool title, absolutely. I still have my original copy of both albums, actually, and actually I just ordered the third album on Discogs. I got it for like $8.
Oh wow!
Which was like, I saw it and I'm like, this, and like all the other ones were way more expensive. I grabbed it up, which is quick, so it should be here in a couple days. I love All Fired Up. I literally could have just said, just take the whole first album. I absolutely, this is a desert island album for me. The first album. Open up with All Fired Up, but I do have to say, I hadn't listened to All Fired Up in a long time, and the first album, self-titled, that's one of my go-to albums. Like when I talked about before, nothing to listen to, I'll throw. That's an album that I will cherry pick out to throw on, that I can listen to at any point. But All Fired Up, I'm like, man, there's a ton of good shit on here, and you missed my favorite song on there though. All Fired Up is great. Feel Me, Touch Me is great. That gets a 3-star from me. Tell Me is friggin' fantastic. Hung Up on Love, that's a really good one. I got 2 stars on that one. I absolutely love Heft. I like the I don't like that murkiness of that beginning of the song. But in the difference between the two albums, I absolutely 1,000,000% love the drum production on that first album. If you had that drum production on the second album, but I think that the first album, the drums on it, they're more prominent with the way that they're kind of stand alone for some parts, where you get like Heft when it like comes in and stuff like that. But I don't think you have a lot of songs on the second one like lend themselves to that. Steal the Show, great song, go in there. What do we got? Say What You Will. You got to throw that one on there. Absolutely. You could. That comes on Ozzy's Boneyard all the time on Sirius XM for sure. Yep. Misunderstood.
That's on the second album.
Yeah, that one was a little. Like, got like a 1-star for me on that one. Not bad though. You got me running. That one. That's a friggin' great one. What do we got next? And then you ended the album with. If you could see all right, so you had Stranger last, right?
Stranger last, yeah.
Stranger last. Okay. If you could see is the last album, is the last song All Fired Up.
Yes.
Yeah, that one I do like that one. Stranger, I love you, Brad, but I think you ended with a dud on that one. And I'm just like, I'm absolutely flabbergasted that you left We Become One off this album. I am like,
oh yeah, the Sabbath riff in
like,
there.
Oh my God, where the fuck is that? The time change in it. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, other than that and Stranger, great pick. But actually on All Fired Up, Nonstop Love, that's the only one on mine that got like 3 stars. I think fucking fantastic song, because that was one when I threw it back on, it really caught my ear. I'm like, what the fuck song is this? I hadn't heard that one in a while, but great. You can't go wrong. I'm sorry, except for Stranger at the end. But great. I was excited when you picked these 2 albums to do, because I'm like, first one, Desert Island album for me. Second album, I'm like, ooh, shit, I haven't listened to that in a long time. They'll give me good chance to refamiliarize myself with that one. So good solid picks, though.
Nice. BB, what do you think?
Yeah, Fastway. Love these guys. Played the shit out of the first album, and for some odd reason, never really even picked up the second album. It's just so crazy. Like, I have no clue why.
Because you're drunk.
I was probably drunk in 1984, 85, whatever.
Well, really, Fastway's a metal shop band for me. That's where I first heard them. They played Easy Living on there, I think it was first. And then they opened for Maiden, my first show. So, I mean, they were ingrained in my my DNA from right from the get-go. Sorry to interrupt.
Right, no, because 1984 on 12, I'm like, and like the older people weren't listening the fast way, but I do remember the first album because I remember the checkered flag cover. Scott Wagner had it, and it was great.
You still have those sneakers, don't you?
I think I do. Actually, Vans are still making checkered flag sneakers. So you can buy a brand new pair right now.
No shit.
Yeah.
Here you go for the crew.
Yeah, this is just a great list. I was wondering where you're gonna put "Say What You Will" because that has such an iconic opening guitar riff. Like I'm like, boy, where is he gonna put it? Is he gonna put it right at one to grab your ear right out of the box? Putting it deep in there, that could be like your deep track, But
why was it? I was track 8.
Track 8 on the first album too.
Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy? How
it's real deep.
And that was the one that kind of made the band. But "Feel Me, Touch Me," "Hung Up on Love," the chorus is so catchy. I'm glad you threw them on there. "Steal the Show," fantastic rocker. And it's just weird. As many times as me and Steve fight over the years and over the songs, I wrote 2 songs down that I wish you used, and he fucking already said them. From the first album, I would have picked "We Become One," and the second album would have been "Nonstop Love." I'm like, God damn it! But
great minds think alike.
He hates agreeing with me.
I
That's what
hate
it is.
it. God damn it! Ugh. But no, great band, great list, and that first album is so iconic, and I really gotta give this second album more listen. But yeah, great pick with definitely the band and a great list.
Yeah, and see, actually, I ended up with 7 songs from the second album, and again, not by
that's tough.
I didn't purposely do that. It just it just kind of happened, which is a little odd. But anyway, Dylan.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the little I know about Fastway, it's the first album, especially "Say What You Will," and the Trick or Treat soundtrack because we covered that movie. And I hadn't really heard the second album, so I wasn't really familiar with any of those songs. But I liked a lot of the songs that you picked from it, and I could definitely see why you had a good majority on there. It's very. They're very good albums. They of course every album has its clunker, but I think you did some good culling of the the extra material. Definitely the stuff that stuck out to me. You had most of them on there. I would agree with BB and my dad on those 2 songs, but I won't harp on that again. But otherwise, very very good picks.
Nice. All right, BC. I know you're a Fastway fan.
Oh god, Fastway. I mean, when I saw you pick the Black and Blue and Fastway, I'm like, yes. I mean, Fastway. This is another band. Like the more I go back and the more I listen to these albums, I mean, the more I love them. I mean, I'm the last 2 years. I think I'm going back to older music more than newer music, which might not be.
It's not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. There was just so much music back in the day that I never really scoped out, and I'm going back and doing it. And Fastway is definitely one of them. I listened to him back then, and it still is today. But All Fired Up is a great way to start the album. Feel Me, Touch Me is another great one. Say What You Will, of
Wasn't
course.
that one of Max Bialystok's Backers Death?
What?
If you
Feel
could
Me, Touch Me. That was Hold Me, Touch Me.
Hold Me, yeah. Touch me. But I mean, to me, there's not a bad song on here. I mean, the first 2 albums to me are solid albums. I gotta get the third one on vinyl yet.
I was surprised to see it. I totally forgot that it even existed. I knew there was more out there, but I didn't know.
I always see it. And
I always thought Trick or Treat was the third one, but it's the 4th.
Oh, they're waiting for the roar.
Trick or Treat. That's great list. Great list.
Nice.
Let's see.
Who is next, Righty?
BC's next.
Oh
God!
Here we go.
Strap your get your 4-point harness and your Hans device on.
The episode's over now because no other band.
The episode's over because everybody's going to stop listening.
Oh my God!
All right, so take care of yourselves
and each other.
And, there might be a next time,
and there may be a next time.
There'll definitely be a next time, but BC will not be here for the next time.
Steve might not be here for the
Whoa!
Oh!
Wow!
Behave.
We're trying.
See, you left and we got wild.
Yeah, BC needs a fresh one for this one.
I got a drink.
I do too. I just cracked one too.
The midlife crisis is out of control.
I can't help it. You should have to take some testosterone or something.
Me and Sonny were talking today. We got to talk to him on the cruise. He goes, "We'll take care of it."
Uh-oh. I think they're going to have an intervention on the Monsters of Rock.
We're going to sit you down in a faraway corner.
Duct tape you to a chair. You're going to listen to the whole set.
One of those chairs you lay down in. We're going to put you in that and tape you to it. But no, I've always been a fan of these guys since back in 1988 when their first album came out, and then again the world blew up, and you never saw them again until 2018, and then 2023 their third album came out. So 30 some plus years and only 3 albums. Nothing for the peanut gallery.
I didn't say it. I didn't even make a face. Yeah.
You made a face. He doesn't always make a face.
Give it time.
Give it that. But their last 2 albums, is to me very musically differently from their first album, which was more 80s. Of course, it's 30 year difference. I'm trying to do math in my head. I better not do it. Anyways, I always like, and these 2 albums are going to combine here are different from the first album, which that's why I picked those 2. And BB said, "Why did I not pick the first
one?" So, people out there, disclaimer: if you want to listen to Roxanne, listen to their first album.
Self-titled, right?
In a little bit of the second.
Don't listen to them.
No spoilers.
They're drunk, both of them, and the one's going through a midlife crisis. But I took
just turn 50.
That's right.
Radio Silence and Stereotypical. I combined these 2. And it's very hard for me to explain the music of these guys because it's very vocally, very chorus. What's the word I'm looking for?
Chorus oriented.
Thank you. Guitar wise, it's very different riffs over the board and good soloing, but the riffs are different than just a regular steady riff. But my album, I'm going to call it Back Again. Because they're back again, ready? And they're going to be back again and again and again.
Whether you like it or not.
They're coming back.
He's going to jam it right down your throat for the next 2 years.
We're going to see him live. They just announced their show today. We're going, right? Me and you.
Where? Not around here, I'm sure.
Out west.
If you pay, I'll go.
All right. You heard of people?
I'll go.
Okay, I'm opening my album with the title track off the third album. Sorry, he got me saying second. Stereotypical. To me, it has a distinctive Roxanne opening guitar riff sound, whatever you want to say, funky bass, and has to me the drums stand out a little bit more in this. Some cool riffs, and again, this band stands out with their backing vocals and group choruses. And it has ride cymbal in it, so you can't go wrong. How can you knock that one? It's the ride cymbal. Track 2, Super Bad, off their second album, with a special appearance by George Lynch. Very,
By McLovin.
Yeah.
Super Bad. I forgot about that. To me, a very cool riff. Again, another song with a distinctive vocal style. Funky solo, and again, another song with the ride cymbal, so how can it go wrong? Track 3, Keep On Keeping On, off their third album. And the vocals and guitar start into like a very groovy standout with the vocals. And to me, I think the solo on this is a little bit more moody, soulful. Track 4, off their third album, Gotta Live. It's more of a mid-tempo song, another song with strong group vocals. And they even have some backup singers in the background on this one. Another breakdown and guitar part before the solo kicks in. I always like when bands do like funky parts before like they kick into the solo. I'm gonna close out side 1 with a fun song off their second album, Go Fuck Yourself. It's just a fun song with a special guest Doug Pennant from King's X. It just has that build-up start into like into like a groovy song. Track 6, I'm gonna start with the second side with another one with kind of Someone to Kill. And again, it starts off again with the Roxanne trademark sound, a lot of group vocals, lyrics about a crazy woman, which I can relate to. So I mean, this song hits home for me. But track 7 is gonna be The Cost of Living off their third album. I can't even know what I wrote down. Something riff. Again, more trademark Roxanne sound. When you hear these albums, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Good riffs, more soloing, duels. At track 8, Girls Alright. Has that big start, and then acoustically, and then big group vocals throughout the song. Another track 9 is gonna be another storytelling song. Almost like a 3:45. It's a story about murder and being arrested and all kinds of shit. And again, the music fits more fitting solos in this song. And then I'm going to close out with track 10, Waiting for Laura, off their third album. Starts off a little mellow, but kicks up into it with the different riff and a distinctive drum beat. Again, more of their strong background vocals. I mean, this band to me is just different. They're not your typical, what you're going to say, 80s rock, and that it's just a different sound, vocally, musically. It's different.
What was the 8th song?
Girls Alright.
Girls Alright. All right.
Dylan, tell me about this.
I did not mind these albums. I thought that they were good. What was Go Fuck Yourself originally? Track 6?
Track 6.
Because you guys used to joke about.
We used to say every time we were going to tell someone fuck off, we'd just say track 6.
On the cruise.
Yeah.
On the cruise.
On the cruise,
Yep.
track 6.
Track 6.
Nobody knows what we're talking about.
Steven, what? Track 6.
Yeah.
Track 6 back at you.
That was fun. Superbad was cool. I really did like the George Lynch appearance. I thought that it added a lot of stuff to it. I think it's. This was probably the thing that I was, besides your other picks. This was the thing I was least familiar with. So I really, again, I want to thank you for putting out there something that we would not have really checked out. So I hope that was enough positive reinforcement for you to stirring yourself up against some of the other opinions.
BB,
that's your cam.
All right, Roxanne. You sure it's not the first album, BC?
You don't want to put on the red light.
Yeah. There are some good parts of this album. Gotta Live is a really cool, funky song. It's got that funkadelic feel to it. Go Fuck Yourself is... There's that cool... like the slide guitar-ish parts in there, which are really, really great. Waiting for Laura has an acoustic start, but it kind of builds. I just can't get into this new album. And I love you like you're my older brother. But it's just something about this new album I just cannot. Like the first album's amazing. The second album is a little less amazing. This third album, I probably listened to it at least 15 times, and it just, there's some parts I'm like, ooh, and it just, that crazy roller coaster I can't get into. Sorry, but I love you. Like a brother, music.
Right,
and we never disagree, so
I'm
finally going to disagree with you.
Okay, Brad, help me out here, but.
Yeah, no. So I think Roxanne, the first time I heard of this band was on your guys' podcast. I feel like it must have been UBC talking about that the first album, or maybe you chose a song just from that album, for something that you guys were doing. But I went back and picked up the first album, and I'm a fan. I had not heard either one of these albums, and overall. I get a Billy Squier feel from the vocal, the lead vocal, and then the harmonies are. There's Bon Jovi in there. There's Mr. Big stuff, Saigon Kick. Even it feels like they're kind of going down that path with the harmonies, which is not a bad thing at all. Again did the same thing. I had 10 songs on my thing. There were 4 that you had that I did not have. The Cost of Living, so guys, listen to that again. I mean, that chorus is Mr. Big. I mean, even the interjections sound to me like Eric Martin in that song, which again, not a bad thing. The one thing I think they struggle with, and is the mellow songs. They have quite a few of them, and the only one that I liked was Open Book, which you didn't have in your list, but I feel like they struggle with that. And then the only other two songs that I would have, one from the first or the second album and one from the third. So I Don't Want to Live This Way and Without a Rope, which it's an oddly arranged song, but the chorus I think is so good with his vocal in there. But yeah, not as bad as those guys were giving you, BC. So it was an interesting listen.
Brad's just being nice to you.
He was, right?
Because now you're gonna get.
Don't worry, Brad. I'm the only one you have to worry about pissing off.
Now you're gonna get the real truth, BC.
Okay. I was aware of these guys back in the day when the first album came out. I never had it. I was aware of it. I heard a couple of things, and I enjoyed it. And I didn't really get to really listen to these guys until was the album out when we saw the first album. That second album was out when we saw them, right? Yeah. So I had a kind of basis on that. Yeah, because we were talking about track 6, Go Fuck Yourself. We saw these guys. They played the pre-party for the Monsters of Rock cruise the first year we went, right? At that casino outdoor thing in Miami. And it was the only show they played. Because usually they didn't go on the boat. Because usually if every band plays twice.
They're supposed to be on the boat last year. Last year.
Yeah. So if you play the pre-party and you go on the boat, you play one more time. So we saw these, and they were great live. I didn't know what to expect. I had heard the album. I thought it was mostly good. Some hit and miss stuff on there. But they were great live. They were really good live. I think Doug Pennick came out and did Go Fuck Yourself with them, didn't he? Yeah. I want to say he did come out. But we didn't get George Lynch for Super Bad, I don't think. And if you want to see an awesome video with a lot of eye candy on it, check out the Super Bad video. Fucking awesome. Okay. As far as BC making an album out of these two, BC's he's loading the magazine to his gun right now. Opens up with Stereotypical. Great. I had very, very high hopes for this second album when I heard this song. If you listen to that in your headphones, there's a lot of cool back and forth shit and effects, like kind of swirling shit in there. Good song. Super Bad. I just talked about that. Great song with George Lynch playing on there. Keep On Keeping On. Good song. I like it. And like I said, I did the stars. I got 2 stars Stereotypical. I have 2 stars of Super Bad. Are you recording me, baby?
No. No, Dylan's recording you.
Keep On Keeping On. I have 2 stars for that one too. Gotta Live. That's a 3-star song for me. That's fucking fantastic.
All right, BC.
That is friggin' that's a great. That's one of the best songs on the second album. Go Fuck Yourself is fucking fantastic. And Sunny Pony track 6, motherfucker. Someone to Kill, number 6, first song on the Radio Silence album, really good. That's a 2-star one for me. Number 7, here's where you kind of dip down, BC. Cost of Living, it's okay. It's just okay for me. I can live without that one. I absolutely would have put Until They Do on there instead.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
He thinks the rent is too
Girls All Right. That's a good one too. That one's okay. That's another one that I can. Okay, I would have put Man in the Moon there instead.
It's a great R.E.M. song.
It's the Scream song.
It's a great Scream song.
It's the Scream song. I think they do a fantastic job.
Now that you say that.
It's their song, right?
I was
Yes.
I was going to harass you because...
No, Jamie Brown wrote it, and then the Scream did.
Right. I was going to harass you because I was listening, like, before we started recording, I was listening to the first 2. I was going to text you, which Man in the Moon are you going to put on here? Because they're both different, and I can't believe you didn't even put on your album.
Scream ruined it.
3:45 is next. That got a 1-star. That one's okay for me. Waiting for Laura, fucking fantastic. That is a freaking great song. And my only problem with these guys are they're just all over the place. I put that new album on, and it's like Stereotypical was great, and then like a ballad. Next song, Gotta Live, best song on the album. Ballad. Cost of Living, Open Book, ballad. Waiting for Laura, fantastic. Keep on Keeping On, great. Until They Do, great. Without a Rope, what the fuck is that? Sorry, Brad. Not gonna lose. No. But I don't hate it as much as I led you to believe, BC. But it's just so all over the place. It's like, dude,
that's how they are,
what the fuck? Like,
listen, if it's not you, it's BB. If it's not BB, it's me. So
it's got to be someone.
Yeah.
It's got to be someone. Me and BB
it's you this week.
They're
and like I said, I would love to see them live now because
different.
hopefully they wouldn't play the shit that's on this new album. But
and if they do,
and they were supposed to be on Mork last year, right? But they, for whatever the fuck happened, they didn't. So it would have been interesting to see. But this album wouldn't have been out though, so I don't know if they would have. You know what I mean? So it would be interesting to see what they would play now. See, not as bad as you thought it was gonna be, didn't you?
No, I in your defense, I understand where you're coming from, because they're different and they're all over the place.
I mean, your claims of album of the year is a little far-fetched, but you know.
It's early.
Although there is not a lot of shit out this year so far that is really thrilling me.
Next week it'll be different.
Yeah, so it's almost half the year over. There's not a lot of great albums out so far.
Brad,
what do you think about that? I know you're a connoisseur of new music, and what do you think about what's been released, like overall, kind of this year? The kind of stuff that we listen to. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, did everyone shoot their load? After COVID? Because yes, right. I agree with you. It's like what's going on here? There's not as much stuff out, and I haven't really looked, I guess, that closely on what's coming out.
The 14th, LA Guns, you got the White Lion, something, some of There's 3 other albums coming out. 14th is a big day. And then May has Heaven's Edge and what do you call it?
Well, Metallica's 2 weeks from now.
That's coming out. Yeah.
It'll be next week when this comes out. Actually, no, this comes out on the day that Metallica comes out. This episode, I believe.
14th.
Or last week. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah.
The only person who knows is Dylan.
I think we got spoiled the last couple of years with all the releases, so.
Yeah, it's been crazy. All right. Everybody go on that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we got BC. You. So it's me. Okay. This was the toughest one for me out of everyone's albums. When I picked this, I'm like, why did I pick this? Because it's hard to pick this. I picked between Dock and Tooth and Nail and Under Lock and Key. And I'm like, you fuckers, you couldn't have did like 12 songs on one album. And so I had to keep it to 10 songs. Impossible. And literally the songs that I had to leave off, you could have a whole nother album. Honestly, you really could. Because I was like, I almost was just going to put these in a randomizer and just pick what the fuck came out. I didn't, though. I didn't. And without a doubt, there was no Without Warning on this fucking album. It literally kicks into Tooth and Nail. Kicks right in. Fuck this intro bullshit. Fuck that. Right to Tooth and Nail. So you get your face punched right after. And then, and I kind of went back and forth with a couple songs of how I had my songs picked of what I had picked, but I was going back and forth because I always like to have a good 1-2 thing. But I really like the song's not like a punch in the face like Tooth and Nail. It's kind of like it comes down a little bit. But I love the beginning, how like Tooth and Nail just ends abruptly, and then you get dun, 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 going into the Hunter. I think that's a really good 1-2 punch there. And I don't care what anybody says. I threw Alone Again on there next. I think that is one of the best ballads of the, if you want to call it the hair metal era. I think it's a fantastic fucking song.
Especially with Jack Russell singing.
Jack Russell singing at M3 was the best song vocally that they did all day.
Ever.
But I think it's a fantastic song. Then got into one of the hits, It's Not Love. I think that song is just absolutely fantastic. How, I know these guys were, if you want to call them big or medium big, like a B band maybe or whatever, but like they have a lot of really, really good songs. Those, I don't really care for Breaking the Chains album. A couple songs on it are okay. But once you get to Tooth and Nail, Under Lock and Key, Back for the Attack, that 3 albums in a row are just fucking insane of how good they are. So It's Not Love is going to be after Alone Again. And then I close out side 1 with Don't Close Your Eyes. I wanted to get a good rockin' song to end up side 1. And then I open up the second side of the album with Unchain the Night. Absolutely fucking love that song. I think it's great. The vocally, like the harmonies in that song are just great. And one of the best songs I think of their total catalog, In My Dreams. I it's a hit. Songs are hits for a reason. In My Dreams is just fucking fantastic song. Absolutely love it. George Lynch, you could pick a song on here and he just fucking absolutely tears it up. It's too bad, but it's kind of good that they fucking hated each other, because I think that helped out the music a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think they graded against each other, and I'm not sure who wrote the lion's share of what, but it worked as far as songwriting. Personalities, as we've come to find out, not so much, because when they did the Monsters of Rock tour, BC saw his buddy rolling around in glass for Metallica. Dokken played that show as well, and they were just all showing up at the shows separately. They were just the only time they were banned is when they hit that fucking stage.
Yeah.
And but their chemistry in the studio and songwriting up until at least Back for the Attack worked for them. Just got lucky. Got to throw that in there. And I'm not usually a hits guy, but you know what? I mean, the songs are good. If it's a good song for me, it's a good fucking song. And then I throw When Heaven Comes Down in there next. Just a fantastic song. I could not. This was one song I could not do without. There's a couple songs on here I could not do without. Unchain the Night was one. When Heaven Comes Down was another. Tooth and Nail was another. Alone Again was another. And then I end the album with, absolutely love this song. I as much as I hate to say it, I think Sonny picked this on the last thing we did. Lightning Strikes Again. That song is just a perfect way to end an album. You get that when you get that friggin' drum roll at the end, just a killer way to end an album. And here's the songs left off. The songs that I left off of Tooth and Nail: Heartless Heart, Into the Fire, Bullets to Spare, Turn on the Action. From Under Lock and Key, Slipping Away, the ballad of that one, Jaded Heart, Don't Lie to Me, Will the Sun Rise, that one I can live without, Until the Living End. So I mean, you literally could have had 2 killer albums here, and say if they did this, like, I mean, there could have been some good videos and hits off of the songs that I left off of here. But I mean, you can only put out so many songs from an album for releases and videos and shit, because they want you to get out there, do the videos, sell the albums, and they want to get you right back in the studio and do it all over again. So there's only so much you could do within the time frame of an album cycle, especially then when, like, Poison's putting out shit, Motley Crue's putting out shit, Van Halen's putting, everyone's got something coming. So you want to get through with your cycle, get right back in there, get back out again. So it had to be tough for these guys, especially, I think, Dokken, and I think they're one of the bands that just, you could have picked a lot of their songs that weren't videos and hits and put on the radio, and people would have fucking loved them. Album tracks. What do you think, Dylan?
I really like the picks that you made. Like you said, these are 2 fantastic albums, so it's very tough to narrow them down. The only one I would have put on differently is Into the Fire, but the rest of the stuff you hit everything that I was hoping you would.
It was tough leaving that off.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand why, because I was like, I'm thinking through your list, and I'm like, what would I switch from that? And I don't know what it would be, but yeah, I mean, opening up with Tooth and Nail. Like, come on. That is literally like if you see a mosh pit going and you just run in like swinging, that's that equivalent. And I'm glad that you had opening up side 2 Unchained the Night, because Unchained the Night's a fantastic opener too. But Tooth and Nail, like, that's the bombastic, like, all like head-banging opener, whereas Unchained the Night's a little more mid-tempo, but still a good opener. I thought that was a fantastic pick. I'm also surprised you put In My Dreams on there, because
it's great.
And also Alone Again. But I'm very happy you did, because they're both great songs.
BB.
This is almost in the same caliber where Dylan was. Like, if you are a fan of 80s hair metal, 84, 85, how can you not know these 10 songs?
Yeah.
I'll let go when Heaven Comes Down, maybe. You look at these songs, Tooth and Nail, The Hunter, Alone Again, It's Not Love, Don't Close Your Eyes, Unchained the Night, In My Dreams, Just Got Lucky, Lightning Strikes Again. If you don't know those songs, being a fan of hair metal 84, 85, you lived in a closet. Honestly, I was waiting. This is the album I really want to see where you went to and what you threw on there, because probably, Don't Lie to Me may have been the only song you could have not put on the album. And it's just weird how solid these two albums were and how big Dokken really didn't get. And then, like I said, if you don't know these songs, there's got to be something wrong. But no, I like it. Another one of those throw a dart at an album. Honestly, a lot of good music came out of those two albums.
All right. Brad.
Yeah. So when I saw these pop up, it was kind of like, well, how is he going to do this, or what way is he going to approach this? So as I was looking at it, and again, the 10 songs you chose, there were just two that were different than what I chose. I would have maybe approached it as, and I would have had Alone Again on here because that song is underrated. It was one of the first quote unquote power ballads, and it doesn't get its due. So I would have put that on there. But I was thinking, how about creating just a heavy album, between these two? So like Just Got Lucky, which I love, I didn't include. I love Heartless Heart, but that, again, it's kind of obviously kind of melodic. So in my head, I was wanting to kind of go heavy, but still, It's Not Love and In My Dreams, you gotta have. I mean, In My Dreams has one of my favorite guitar solos in it, so I've got to have that on there. But Unchained the Night, fantastic. So I mean, When Heaven Comes Down, Lightning Strikes Again, Don't Close Your Eyes. Those picks, I was really happy that you included those songs in there. So good list. That was tough. I know that was tough for you.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
Great list
for sure. I had like 18 different configurations of it,
Yeah.
But their band, like these two albums, their songs I literally could not leave off because not because they were hits, but because I really liked them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they picked the singles for a lot of these albums, Dokken, they're one of the few that I agree with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you, BC?
All right. I mean, Dokken, these two albums are tough to make into one, I would say. But I'm going to put this in the same boat with Brad's pick of Black and Blue. First album, great. Second album, I think they lost something. Production-wise. The songs are great. Musically, I mean...
Well, Tom Werman and Roy Thomas Baker produced Tooth and Nail. And then Michael Wagner and a guy named Neil Carmen produced Under Lock and Key.
Ooh.
I'm drawing a blank.
Don't talk bad about Michael Wagner.
Neil Carmen, I don't know. I don't know what he's got going, but Michael Wagner, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could have been different. I'm drawing a blank. Dokken came out with these songs re-recorded. I can't think of what
on that greatest hits one.
The greatest hits.
Yeah.
If you listen to that, fucking the bass stands out so much better on I want to say In My Dreams and stuff like that. It's Not Love. The bass is so much more up.
Right.
Where you can actually hear it. And to me, it makes the song so much better. But, I mean, this is great. I mean, Alone Again, I agree with you. For a slow song, that just rips. It's Not Love. Don't Close Your Eyes. In My Dreams, I can remember. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. In My Dreams, I can remember I was dating my wife at the time, and her daughter was 14 when we started dating. She might have been 16 years old. We're going down the road. In My Dreams is on the stereo, and she's in the back seat going, "In my dream," and she knew every word.
She's put up with you for that long already?
Oh, got it.
Really?
We've been together a long time.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But I'm going. I looked at Renee. I said, "Your daughter knows the words to the song." I was blown away.
And Renee was like, "Who's this?"
Yeah, Renee's like, "Ah." I'm like, she's 16 years old and she knows every lyrics to the verses and everything. I'm like,
Oh.
I'm going,
It had to be Nikki.
It was. I'm going, how the fuck? I mean, I was blown away that night. But I mean, when Heaven Comes Down, I mean, the first album to me is because that's like the first LA Guns. Those are classic, iconic, can't be changed albums. But this is great. Lightning Strikes Again. That's another great hit. I think I'm going to go in and reproduce the second album.
It's good. Yeah, it's called the Docking Greatest Hits re-recorded.
That is.
And there's I think like 10. I think there's like 8 or 10 songs, and there's 2 like newer songs. So on there.
We can do without that.
All right. So there we have it. We have the Make It a Combo Part 2. Like I said, Part 1 was episode 237. Check that out. That's just the 4 of us guys here, and so we'll go around. We'll wrap up. Just say what your 2 albums were, and give your final thoughts, and we'll get out of here. BB.
All right. First, Brad, thanks for coming on, and sorry to hold you up. This is the Hotter Than Hell podcast style, and we like to talk about it. We like to talk about nothing is skimmed around here. And sorry, we ran a little bit long tonight, but yeah, my 2 albums were the first 2 from LA Guns, and my 2 albums from Metallica were Hardwired and Death Magnetic. 4 great albums, 2 that are iconic, 2 that are not so much out there, like I said, almost forgotten about. But this is a great way to actually listen to some of this music and combine the 2 that, kind of get out the, what we like to say skippers around here. In like Steve's case, there's not too many skippers of 2 albums. When you try to put an album together, it's kind of tough. It was a little bit easier for BC there because there were quite a few skippers in his in his albums. But this is a great episode. I can't wait to do the next one because I think we may do a little twist on it. And then, like I said, Brad, thanks a lot for coming on. We love having you on here.
You're gonna host that one, BB.
Okay. Yes.
Do it.
Brad.
Yeah. So again, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the invite. Love. No worries about going long. I love talking about music and listening to people talk about music. So this is perfect for me. So Black and Blue's first 2 albums is what I had, and then I had Fastway's first 2 albums as well. And I, again, kind of mentioned this as we went through, but I mean, the Roxanne stuff, the Ice Nine Kills stuff, Freaks of Nature, that was all new to me. And I love discovering new stuff and listening to new stuff, whether I like it or not. I like to be exposed to as much music as possible. So that's what this episode did for me. And I appreciate you guys having me on.
Give Slamfest a good
so
slam there.
So you guys come out Fridays, so we come out on Thursdays, and again, talking about going through my concert chronology, and inserting real-time shows as they happen, to talk about the shows, set lists, all that stuff, but then kind of dive into albums and put albums up against each other, and then close out with a "Which Side Are You On" segment. So take an album from one of the bands on the bill and put side 1 up against side 2. So I've had everybody on except Dylan. Dylan, I got to find a way to get you on.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll do that. We'll do that sometime.
All right. Speaking of Dylan, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, first off, thanks, Brad, for coming on. Always fantastic to have you on, and great picks for sure. My picks were Aerosmith's Toys in the Attic and Rocks, and Ice Nine Kills Silver Scream, and Welcome to Horrorwood Silver Scream 2. You could listen to all of our combined albums on the Spotify playlist of the week. We will be putting those on there, as well as the one thing that you had mentioned to put it on, the live thing from
LA Guns.
LA Guns. But yeah, I really think we had such a good array of different bands and albums. A lot of them that I had not heard of, mostly thanks to BC, but a lot that I did hear. So it was cool, kind of revisiting Dokken and that era of Iron Maiden, Dad, because I don't listen to Dokken as much, but whenever I hear Dokken, it's like, yes, it just hits. So maybe we should enter them into the rotation a little more. But yeah, everybody had some great picks. It was awesome seeing everybody's mindset, especially BB with Metallica. That was really cool to see how kind of different we were thinking with that, and I'm really interested to hear. I'll have to let you know what I think of your sequencing after I listen to it. But great job, everybody.
BC.
All right, Brad, pleasure having you on as always. And to me, I mean, looking at everybody's picks, I mean, I'm really diving into more older music nowadays. And I love the Black and Blue, the Dawkins, and the Aerosmith. But and the LA Guns and the Metallica. I love those picks. Great albums. I mean, everybody had great picks. I mean, my picks were Freak of Nature with their self-titled and Gathering of Freaks. And then Roxanne's second and third album, Radio Silence and Stereotypical. But, I mean, this was fun as always. I mean, everybody has a different aspect, and Dylan always brings in that little newer stuff that I keep saying I gotta get into it, and I gotta get into it. Mm-hmm. Text me once a week saying, "Did you listen?
Did you listen to this?
Did you listen? Did you listen?" But no, fun times.
Yes, Brad, thank you for coming on, spending time with us. Always a blast having Brad. Brad is part of the Hotter Than Hell family now. Always great having Brad on. Check out Slamfest podcast. Like Brad said, it comes out every Thursday, and I check out all of their episodes. It's my Thursday listen, which will be 2 days from now. I'm a day off this week. I have no idea why, but I am. And I just wanted to say today's April 4th, 2023. Today would have been Gary Moore's birthday. One of my ultimate favorite guitar players. Guy totally fucking tore it up between his rock stuff and his blues stuff. Just absolutely phenomenal. I would have loved to seen him play with Joe Bonamassa. That would have just been fucking amazing for the two of them to get together to play. But fun episode. I like doing these ones. I literally have like 8 other albums to combine, but we're gonna do a little different twist on it. The BB came up with actually during the episode tonight. I don't know if he had it brewing or whatever. No. He just kind of came up with it as he's writing it down, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So we're going to do that, and BB's going to host that one, so that'll be coming up in the fall. We'll have Brad back if you want to, Brad.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for listening, you guys. I love doing this shit. From BB's putting another exclamation point on our March Metallica. And BC bringing up Freak of Nature, something that I wasn't aware of. I don't think any of us were aware of besides BC, but that's how BC rolls. Roxanne, him trying to inject us with that Roxanne stuff there, and Dylan Ice Nine Kills. You can't go wrong with that. That was a tough one for me to pick. What to put there? Classic Aerosmith was fantastic. Brad doing Fastway in Black and Blue. Right. And literally, you those 4 classic Black and Blue albums are fucking fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
You have in Heat and Nasty, then In Heat after the 2 that Brad did, just absolutely fantastic. And thanks for listening, you guys. Get out and check these albums out. Check out Dylan's gonna put in Stars as well in the playlist. Just listen to the fucking shredding on that album, on that song. It's just friggin' insane. So guys, thanks for hanging with us. We know this is a long one, but no one says you have to listen to a podcast in one sitting. So enjoy it, throw it on for a ride, go for a walk. It's getting nice out. Well, at least here in the Northeast. I can't vouch for anybody else. If you're in the mountains of California or Wyoming, whatever. God love you. Get that shovel going out there. It'll be spring out there soon enough. So get out there. Give us a 5-star review if you would, if you are so inclined. It helps us get out there with bigger podcasts, give us a little more exposure. We would appreciate that. Check out the songs we talked about tonight on our Spotify playlist that Dylan's going to so graciously put in the show notes. And once again, Brad, thank you for coming. Dylan, BC, BB, love you guys. Always awesome having the four of us in the same room here. Take care of yourselves out there. Take care of each other. We will see you next time, and there definitely will be a next time.